Okay.
Fantastic. Hello and welcome. I am Kara Jean, an executive coach. I work with leaders to ditch the hustle cult and step into clear, aligned impact. My tools are neurospicy, practical, and human. For me, leadership is about building ecosystems where people actually thrive together, and empathy is the fuel that makes that real. So that's why I'm here today. Let's get started. Note that we are recording. For the summit is educational and promotional purposes. The video recording will be posted to social media. The feedback form is also in the chat. Please submit a feedback form so we can have your email and keep in touch and get good feedback. Please feel free to write any comments into the chat. And while we will not be taking any bio breaks during the summit, please take time to take care of your needs, kids, fur babies, all of those things. On behalf of the Empathy Summit Center, I would like to welcome you to let's try that again, friends. I just lost all of my words there. On behalf of the Empathy Center, I'd like to welcome you to this Empathy Summit on the topic of empathy circles. The Empathy Center's mission is to build the empathy movement. To raise levels of mutual empathy in the world through education and community initiatives. We would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. The Empathy Center and the empathy community would like to extend deep gratitude to our generous sponsors and partners. You can see more about them at the link. We invite your organization to be a partner and a sponsor. Please see the list of partners in our website. We would also like to thank our generous and terrific volunteers who give freely of their time and work to make these summits possible as free events. If you want to help build the empathy movement, you can join the Empathy Summit team. We meet every Friday. The Empathy Center's mission is to build an empathy movement to raise the levels of mutual empathy in the world through education and community initiatives. This summit is an ongoing series focused on the collaboratively building the empathy movement. It aims to co-create a meaningful experience and share its outcomes. Let's start by co-creating an empathy summit together. When it is all over, please share all of its fruits, all that we harvest from it, as widely as possible. Thank you so much. It is now my pleasure to introduce Bob Brown. Bob Brown is a pilgrim on a spiritual journey for years. He hosted an empathy tent in Thousand Oaks, California, and offered empathetic listening. Life has improved immeasurably since connecting with Edwin Rush and the empathy tent in 2017. And he's going to speak to us on empathy circles and consciousness. Take it away, Bob.
Kara, thank you. And Edwin, thank you too. And for everyone for being here. What a privilege and what a joy. And let me push some buttons here. And I'm trying to share my screen and I'm getting a request button. Ah, here we go. All right. Empathy circles and consciousness. My approach is that consciousness is the big circle and empathy circles are within that big circle of consciousness. This photograph was taken in 1968. On my left is my brother, on your left is my brother Stephen. That's our mom in the middle, and I'm on the right. In 1968, I had been listening to my mother tell me every so often for the past 5 or 6 years, you are not the center of the universe. Or she would say something like, the world does not revolve around you. And I thought, well, Mom, I love you and I listen to you, but what you're saying doesn't make any sense to me because everything I saw, heard, tasted, touched, smelled did revolve around me. It came to me and I was the center of the universe. And mom kept saying, "You are not the center of the universe." And she was my mom, and I believed her. And then, from what I perceived, I was the center of the universe. And there was a big conflict. And it really took me from 1968 to a long time after that, helped immensely by Edwin Rutch, to realize that I was not the center of the universe. The empathy circle helps us realize that each of us is not the center of the universe. This revelation is a major breakthrough in the evolution of consciousness. Consciousness is the quality or state of being aware, including self-awareness and awareness of engagement with the world. As consciousness expands, the sense of separation and isolation shrinks. One is aware of being one with and making a unique contribution to all that exists. Empathy circles help us move away from self-centered separation into the awareness that we are all part of a unified wholeness. We have a variety of consciousnesses to choose from: selfish, Buddha, Christ, collective, cosmic, divine, Islamic, Krishna, Moses, Tao, universal, along with many, many others. And as each of us identifies what kind of consciousness we have, the bigger it is and the more inclusive it is, the better it is. Here's a definition of consciousness from Rupert Spira. We are that with which all experience is known. We are that in which all experience appears, and we are that out of which all experience is made. And for my money, Rupert Spira is one of the leading teachers of consciousness in our world today. In addition to empathy circles, what are some other activities we can engage in to expand consciousness? Meditation, journaling, repetition of a mantra, either spoken softly or silently, or written out repeatedly by hand, reading, creating or beholding art, and then practice awareness. Practice awareness. Practice awareness. Over thousands of years, consciousness has evolved in a collective sense. Most of us start out with what Thomas Keating and Ken Wilber call reptilian consciousness, concerned only with eating, eliminating, and comfort. This consciousness is prevalent in the human infant. As the human person grows, the typical evolution is to Tophonic consciousness. Whatever I imagine is reality. This is prevalent in toddlers. And then as we get to be the age of reason, we develop mythic membership consciousness, which says, my tribe is better than your tribe. My religion is better than your religion. This is prevalent in most adults on our planet today. A few people move a little farther, and they have what is called a mental egoic consciousness, which is taking responsibility for oneself and sharing responsibility for others. This is rare, but it is occasionally present in human adults. Once we get past mental egoic, it's extremely rare, but these are better levels of consciousness, in my opinion. Intuitive consciousness is beyond rational thinking, characterized by human cooperation, forgiveness, negotiation, mutuality rather than competition, and a growing sense of oneness with others and of belonging to the universe. And then the end of the spectrum is the unitive consciousness, the experience of working unconditional love into one's faculties and relationships. The sense of a separate self diminishes. So this is the goal we're looking for, and Spira teaches that it really is existing in us. We just have too many things blocking it. So we want to find ways to come back to unitive consciousness. So there's a little thing on my what have I done?
From our point of view, it just looks like you're out of presenter mode.
Okay, let me there's a big screen showing up in my
We don't see it.
Okay, you don't
Yeah,
see
we
it.
just see.
Okay. Uh, um, uh, how do I get rid of this thing here? Well,
Oh no, I don't know what you see, so I cannot help you. We see your presentation on the small scale. We're still on the obstacle to the expansion of consciousness.
okay.
Green.
There's
View.
a, there's a Zoom screen that shows speakers and stuff like that.
Oh, you've gotten back into the gallery?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So I'm a little I can't I didn't memorize this, so I can't say it, but there's it looks like a participant thing. Let me
Huh.
try something.
We
Um,
don't see it. So whatever we
okay.
see your presentation, we don't see whatever you're seeing on the screen.
Okay, let me try this. There we go. Uh, Forgive me for my lack of skill here. All right.
We're
Obstacles
in
to
it
the
to win it.
expansion of consciousness. There are self-centered habitual behaviors, and there are self-centered patterns of thinking, and those are things we want to get rid of. And how to reduce these obstacles? With meditation, journaling, repetition of a mantra, reading, creating or beholding art, practice awareness, practice awareness, practice awareness.
Mm.
The universe is the ultimate empath. It accepts and listens to everybody. The universe is a manifestation of ultimate consciousness in which we all exist together in a unified oneness.
1 minute, Bob,
Okay.
left.
This is another quote from Rupert Spira. I encourage you to, if you're curious about consciousness, look up Rupert Spira. He's got all the wise stuff about consciousness. And then the brain is the manifestation of it. We breathe, relax, accept, initiate a self-aware response in place of reflexive behavior, and nix negativity. Ian McGilchrist is another world-recognized expert in consciousness. He says consciousness is irreducible, primordial, omnipresent. Michael Benner is former KPFK radio host who says awareness is the supreme quality of mind and love is the wisdom of the heart, two sides of the same coin. Consciousness is the ultimate reality that defines everything else. Rupert Spira. Imagine how regular participation in empathy circles combined with an intentional program of consciousness raising can change the world for the better.
Hmm.
And then here's a little humor about it. I don't know anything about consciousness. I just try to teach my students how to hear the birds sing. And a quote from Pema Chodron, "You are the sky, everything else is just the weather."
Bob,
That's
thank you so much. This was wonderful. I have said for a long time that that you are the center of your universe, just not the universe. So I loved hearing your reflection of that. Perception versus reality is in and of itself such a powerful awareness. Awareness allows impact. I loved that quote, with which, in which, out of which, and then patterns and habits, awareness building, awareness, awareness, practice awareness, practice awareness, practice awareness. And I will be looking up Rupen Spira. Thank you so much for that. It is now my pleasure to introduce Priyanka. Oh, I said that badly. Sharma, a consultant, a coach, a facilitator working to spread compassion and empathy in the world. Today, speaking on what is happening to the silent listeners in the empathy circle and the benefits of silent listening.
Yeah.
Priyanka,
Thank you, Priyanka.
welcome.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this summit, and I'm so excited to see all of us here together to learn more about empathy. Today, I'm going to talk about the silent listening in the empathy circle, and some reflections I have on it from my own practice, and also I looked up some research on what role silence plays in communication. So I'll start my talk by explaining a little bit about the communication model by Jacobson and some research on what researchers have found about the role of silence. And using that, I will just reflect on my experiences in the empathy circle, what I've heard from other people, and also my own experience about being a silent listener in the empathy circle and how that facilitates and fosters connection and understanding. I want to start by reading a poem by Emily Dickinson, and it goes something like this. Silence is all we dread. There's ransom in a voice, but silence is infinity himself, have not a place. So the poem roughly means silence is something we all dread. And this is also there in a lot of research, especially in Mediterranean cultures like Spain and Italy. Silence is not welcome in conversations, and it's very noisy culture, as the researchers called it, and so are Arab culture. Whereas other cultures, like in Japan and China, silence is very contextual and it has to be understood in conversations. It could be a deflection of, they want to say no, but they can't say it openly to your face, so they use silence as a soft no. And that happens in India also, which is a high context culture. But silence is also used to foster understanding, empathy, and a reflective space. And especially in Nordic cultures, this is the case where listening is encouraged more than speaking often. And researchers found that silence in conversations really fosters a reflective space and more engagement with the person that is speaking. And when people have those pauses to introspect and to reflect, whatever information has been shared is taken more, it seems to have more retention, and people engage more with that information. What is silence defined as in communication? It's basically the absence of noise, and also in non-verbal communication, sometimes when we're talking to one another, we use noises like, oh yeah, ah, and that's also a way of communicating. The problem with all of these noises is that it can interfere in the person's process, because even though we are not using words, we are interjecting ourselves into that conversation. So when someone says something and I do, oh, I'm interjecting my reaction, even though it's not verbal. I'm not saying I'm surprised, but I'm still interjecting my experience into it. And that can distract people. So I was recently in a meeting where there was this person who every time the speaker was saying something would go, oh, really? Ah, and it was so distracting for me as a listener. I couldn't listen deeply to the person that was sharing because of this, because this person was constantly interjecting their reactions into. So in a silent, in an empathy circle, silent listening, actually, my experience was it was quite scary in the beginning to just be silent because words and small talk, I realized that I was using it as an armor to not be vulnerable. So I remember there was one workshop where we just had to first be silent and not say anything and just look at each other. It was the scariest experience because suddenly I was there in this silence and I had to be vulnerable and I couldn't use the armor of words or small talk to kind of like replace my anxiety. And when I reflected on it, the anxiety was about being accepted by the other person, about belonging, and not having that verbal validation from the person that you're okay for me, you belong, you're safe here. And but we can communicate that with silence as well. The non-verbal cues here become very important. Silence can be used to communicate distaste or hatred, but it can also be used to communicate empathy and understanding, which is what we do in the empathy circle. So when I'm in the empathy circle, when other people are silently listening, I'm taking in what they are communicating to my message through their non-verbal body language. So through their facial expressions, even though there's no sound that is distracting me, the verbal expressions are still there. And I can discern when I'm being received warmly welcomed by the other person through their listening and when I'm not. So this cultivating this kind of presence, I think as a silent listener in an empathy circle is very important. That kind of presence where the other person feels welcome, feels safe, and feels received. And at the same time, I'm not interjecting my experience to distract the other person or other people who are listening in the circle. And for example, this can happen when I'm triggered by what the other person is saying. And if I'm not able to hold that trigger and my face shows, this kind of exaggerated shock, it can distract the other person. And suddenly, instead of being in their process, they have to take care of me because I look so distressed. So practicing self-empathy at the same time as listening to the other person there's so much happening when a silent listener is listening. Although it seems like there's not much happening. The silent listener deals with whatever's coming up within by giving oneself self-empathy and at the same time being with the other person in a way that is not distracting for that person. That I'm making sure that I'm accompanying the person, but I'm not interjecting my reaction, my world into them, so that I can walk with them and they can be safe in that process. So this is something that is challenging, I think, for silent listeners. And another thing that is challenging is when someone says something and I really am triggered and I want to say something. I really want to say something and I can't hold it. I really want to say it. So in an empathy circle, it's so beautiful because when we practice being in an empathy circle, it gives us that ability to be silent and not react. So it helps us to work on our reactivity. Like Bob was mentioning about consciousness, being aware, being aware, being aware. Often we don't know when we are in a conversation, our habitual way is to react and to just blurt out words. The empathy circle really taught me in a very embodied way to learn how to really contain my my reaction, my wish to react rather than respond. And I noticed that when I held it in and I waited for my turn, my response is much better. Now, when I wanted to react to the person, it was a response rather than a reaction. And oftentimes I even forgot about it and I spoke about something completely different because I had processed it. And it just made me wonder in everyday conversations, in normal conversations, how many words I'm using that are superfluous, that are just reactions, and how many times I might have not really reflected. And so, what as an as a silent listener in an empathy circle, I've also heard many people say, ask me questions like, "So I'm just supposed to sit there and not do anything?" I was like, you will be doing a lot. And this is the reaction I get after the circle. It was like, yeah, I really wanted to jump in and I really wanted to say something to this person. I wanted to save this person. I wanted to console. Many people have a problem when somebody's sharing something that's very sad for them. And we want to jump in and save that person. We want, no, 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 you're not ugly. You're really beautiful. No, we want to say something reassuring. And that is not empathy. And to train ourselves to do that, it's really what you learn as an active listener in an empathy circle. And the we think, oh, we are just being silent, but silence we communicate so much through silence, so much. And this is what the research also says. Through silence, you're communicating respect to the other person. You're communicating compassion to the other person. You're communicating a wish to create a safe container, a reflective space for the other person who's speaking. You're communicating to that other person that I value you. I'm listening so deeply to you because I value you, and what you are sharing is important to me. So you are actually not silent. And coming back to the poem that Emily Dickinson shared, and what Bob was also speaking about consciousness. In many Eastern and mystical traditions, silence is the way to the infinite. Silence is the way we connect to the divine. And in an empathy circle, when we are silently listening, silence is a beautiful way to connect to other people who are speaking, to share with them a common humanity, and to give them the sense that you are valued. Thank you so much for listening. I'm open if anyone has any questions, if I still have time.
You still have 2 minutes. We can drop some questions in the chat if anybody has something bubbling up. I, for one, felt so seen when you talked about the faces reacting, because my face faces without my permission on the regular basis. And empathy circles have absolutely helped me learn how to control that.
I have a question. What's been your experience with empathy circles, Priyanka? I know you're in India and you've been holding empathy circles there. Can you just say a few words about that?
Yeah, so we started an empathy circle in India Friendly Time Zone. I'm co-facilitating it with Kedar. And my experience in India has been that in India, when someone cries, the first thing people want to do for that person is offer them water to drink or to console them, like do something, you know. So that was something people shared, that they really had to hold back when someone was sharing something sensitive, not to jump up as a community and to share, and also share vulnerable things about what's happening in our country culturally, socially. There's no place where people can be themselves, because culturally people put on so many masks that in their families they can't share. They share a lot of things they can't share with their families, with their even with their loved ones. So it's beautiful to receive all that.
One more quick question from the chat. Jodie wonders, What are your thoughts about putting silent reactions in the chat? As a speaker, she enjoys receiving those.
Yeah, my thoughts are I would not encourage that because it distracts the speaker and it distracts other participants because silent listening is almost like a meditation. You have to be so present to what is going on within us and what is going on in the other person. In silent listening, we are listening to also what is not said. So it takes up a lot of psychological resources, psychic resources. And if I also have to look at the chat and monitor the chat, it can be a distraction.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much, Priyanka. This was amazing. I heard silence, fear, or curiosity in space. Again, I'm 100% was that nonverbal person. Oh, And empathy circles absolutely help me hold space in silence. I love when you said walk with them so they are safe to follow their path. Facts, facts. Empathy circles support awareness of our triggers and practice non reactive responses. I hear empathy circles are practical training for new patterns and habits. I love that. Thank you so much. That was powerful. It is now my pleasure to bring up Shri Ram. Shri Ram, I do not want to absolutely butcher this last name, so I would love when you come up for you to say your whole name so I can get it better.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
a non. Hello, welcome. Shriram works in nonviolent communications, NLP and CBT practitioner, a trainer in neuroscience and motivational interviewing, dedicated to cultivating emotional intelligence with empathy as its foundation. Speaking today on empathy circles, building emotional intelligence through deep listening. Please take it away.
Wow. Thank you. What an amazing introduction. So, good morning, good evening, and good night. It's a good night in Nepal, actually. It's 11:15. So, I'm deeply honored to be here among people who live and breathe empathy. And I see a lot of commonality here, and which I have been talking about a lot with my groups and with people I meet. So, advocating about oneness, how we all are connected together. And so, I feel privileged to be here. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. So, today actually we are talking about this empathy is the heart of emotional intelligence. And actually, this reminds me of the beautiful quote from Aristotle. And that is what has been the guiding line for me during my sessions. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. So this is what we are trying to do actually, educating the heart. And coming about the topic of empathy as the heart of emotional intelligence. So here in Nepal, actually having gone through a lot of challenges like a different natural disaster and the political protest, all the things, a lot of beautiful things happening, a lot of challenges also. And despite all the challenges, we are still trying to incubate, trying to practice the culture of, to set up the culture of empathy, to listen, to be there, to be present. And coming back to the roots of this practice in Nepal, actually. And as we all know that Brother Edwin and the team, the empathy movement has been always inspirational to me and many people, not only in Nepal, I guess, all around the world. And let's just imagine a teacher who goes to the school and all the students turn around, they're getting scared of the teacher and not trying to face him, just running away from him. And suddenly the students starts to change, like starting to share their problems and coming together with the teacher and just needing an intervention from principal to create some boundaries, some space between the teacher and his students. And that is one of the teacher that I am talking about is me myself back in 2009. when I was starting my journey in the field of nonviolent communication, in the practice of empathy. So I have found this empathy practice as an elixir for connection, just to connect with people around. And since then, we have been working with different groups, different students. And right now, for the last couple of years, we have been visiting in different schools, different communities, and doing some circles there. Just listening, just being there, and giving some steps of like not the very difficult, very challenging things, like it will give you like this or not, but just being there, being present, and listening their stories, and getting, just offering the support if they need. Just, okay, please count me in, or is there anything I can do? So our students, the groups that I am working with, at least by now, most of them, they can just listen, be there, and support each other. So talking about all these things, again coming back to the emotional intelligence and the practice of empathy. So it's not an easy thing, but it's a very important thing that I feel. And coming back to the schools, and even with the every human beings I meet, so we have a deep longing to be heard, and from the practice of empathy in the circles we hold. So people, they often receive that. They come there, there is listening. You speak, we listen. We put a big boards, and then just we stay there listening. Just like our previous speaker, Priyanka, she was sharing about silence, just like a meditation, listening, and once they feel complete, so we just offer them, is there anything we can do to support them? And not only this, so we often practice the practice of self-empathy also. Are we really willing, really open, really able at this moment to support? So it doesn't mean that we are practicing the circles, we are holding the circles, and we have to do it. But we check with ourselves also. So a part of self-connection, a part of self-regulation also. Because regulating my own emotions before I start, I am open for supporting others. So being connected with myself, being present with myself, so that I can be present with another person. So the little practices that we do, and we share, we learn, and it has been like a play. And there are some of the pictures that I just wanted to share here with, maybe a little reflections from my leaders that I have been working with. It might be a little inspiration also. So let's have a look. I have shared it in the chat so people can have a look. This is what our leaders say about the practice. And having said this, so empathy circles are not just the practices here. It's are the living spaces for human connection. And that's reminds us that being heard without judgment, without the urge to support, without the urge to heal at the moment, we just maintain that connection, maintain that presence, where people can wholeheartedly express themselves without being scared, without being worried about what people might think. And it has turned out to be the deeply healing mechanism where people can support themselves. And not only this, our leaders, the groups that we are holding here, we are working with, we go through the little steps. We just listen in silence, we listen to them, and then we paraphrase their story. And then we guess their feelings and needs. So we just try to make them clear. It's just like holding a mirror and then letting them know, letting them see, letting them hear their story so that they can decide what helps for them, what will works. And this is how the things are happening here. This circle has become as I already mentioned, like a mirror. So that allows us to understand ourselves and also hold other persons, the people who are connected, who are there with us, with care, with love, with compassion, with kindness. So here, by this practice, my intention and the thing that I have been advocating since a long time here in Nepal is that at least if we cannot do a lot of things, let's set up empathy corners in all the schools. And so far, we have been working in more than 1,200 schools, visiting there, and then the students are setting up empathy corners for themselves. So everybody can go there just to connect with themselves. Or if I have some challenges, if I am a little bit overwhelmed, or I have very strong emotions that I am feeling difficult to connect with. So I can also jump there. I can go there. I can connect. So for the teachers also, for the parents also. And nowadays these are growing roots a little stronger. And in every empathy circle, we practice these two pillars of emotional intelligence. One is all about the self awareness, about me, myself. How am I at this moment? Am I fully aware? Am I able to connect, be present? If not, we can always look out for others. And then that's the space that we create for the empath also, the person who is supporting there. And another one is self-regulation. Rather than getting carried away with their emotions, we just try to regulate our emotions, just be very neutral, and then try to be there fully, not just like an act of listening or something, being present. And even when emotions arise, our leaders and we, with the roots of this emotional intelligence, we try to regulate our own emotions before we tend to support another person's emotions. And this practice has been very transformative, as per my observation. Yeah. And it has been very healing. I know there is a lot to learn and a lot to practice, but whatever we have been doing here, and the credit goes to the empathy team, the empathy circles all around the world. In one or another way, we all are learning. And that's what I feel very strong inside my heart, how we all are connected to each other and how we are creating this global consciousness, like radiating the energy and creating a culture of empathy. And in a world filled with resistance, the tension, and what I have noticed so far is empathy is giving that resilience. And that's what we want to create. Yeah. And having said that, when we meet the pain with presence, and resilience has been grown naturally. And thank you, thank you. That's all. I know the time is limited, and I really appreciate this presence. And I know I have been talking about empathy and we have been practicing, and I'm really seeing the practice here from you, all my dear mates here. So just listening, being present, I appreciate. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
this.
you, Sriram. This was amazing. And good night. It's very late there for you. I heard educating the mind and the heart. I heard practice the culture of empathy, especially in crisis. I heard empathy, listen, be dear, support each other. It's not easy. It's important for every person, from self regulation to supporting and leading others, connection with care and kindness and compassion. If all we can do is just set up empathy tents, how powerful is that? Because we are connected and learning in a global consciousness, building a culture of empathy. Oh, thank you. It is now my pleasure to bring up Bill Filler. Bill is a retired special education teacher who spent over 30 years working with at risk children of all ages. He has been involved in the Empathy Circle since 2017 and co-created the Empathy Circle Facilitator Training with Lou and Edwin. It has been holding those trainings since March of 2020. He's a member of the Empathy Center Board of Directors, and today we'll be speaking on Empathy Circle in the context of the empathy movement. Bill, come on up.
Thank you, Karen, and thanks to the previous speakers. That was really great. I appreciate that. Yeah, the picture you see behind me is what my goal was as a special education teacher. I taught kids who were in danger of going to being removed from their families, going to prison, hospitals, or residential programs, and working with a wonderfully talented team. I couldn't have done it by myself, but working together, keyword empathy, we were able to be successful in 8 out of 10 with 8 out of 10 students over a 25-year period. And that's what brought me to empathy. I was in Berkeley and I was going to start my own thing, and I saw Edwin and I thought that the empathy circles were much better. So I decided to put my energies there. So I've put some questions in the chat if you have them, if we have time for them. If not, then I put my email there, and if you want to find out more, please email me. Thanks. Okay, so I want to bring you up to date in what we've been working on. Everything that we do starts with our basic empathy circle. If we are to share the practice with others, then we must understand it. This understanding is not achieved by the mastery of intellectual information alone, but is also felt and needs to be understood on an emotional level as well. The empathy circle seeks to create an empathic experience through two major dynamics: being heard and understood, and by providing that experience to others. This creates an atmosphere that is very similar to what therapists term therapeutic rapport. They believe that this is the level of trust necessary to influence change in their clients. And I believe that what we're trying to do with the empathy circle is change society. That's the empathy movement. I remember being in an empathy circle with a mental health professional, and they marveled at how quickly participants in the circle established their therapeutic rapport. In my opinion, one of the reasons the empathy circle process is so effective is that it provides just the right amount of structure. Enough structure to keep participants focused on listening and understanding, but flexible enough for each person to accomplish this in their own way. Edwin Rutch, the creator of the Empathy Circle, talks about our common humanity. This leads us to the conclusion that for us to share our common humanity, empathy must be an innate part of us. The Empathy Circle doesn't teach empathy, but creates an environment where people experience it in their own way. When they do, they don't find devils or monsters from the id, but discover that mostly we are well-meaning, imperfect people who experience better lives when we try to understand each other. When people internalize that learning experience, we seek to help them understand it more deeply and enable them to provide that listening experience for others. If an individual decides to become involved, that is the first step in participating in the empathy movement. The next step in that empathic journey is to take the basic empathy circle facilitator training. Two core educational themes of the training that we feel express the empathy circle spirit is that we try to support people's progress at their own pace, and our primary learning outcome is that we seek to give participants learning experiences where they become increasingly aware of their inner strengths. While my experience over the 7 years that I've been involved has demonstrated time and again how profound the empathy circle experience is, it takes time for its effects to be recognized. It's not understood through a soundbite or 5-minute pitch. If we want to maintain the spirit of the circle and support people to advance at their own pace, it takes time, because the empathy circle is not just about an intellectual understanding, but also involves an emotional understanding as well. In my first job as a special education teacher, my supervisor, who was a therapist, said, I've seen children make more than 1 year of intellectual progress in 1 year, but I've never seen anyone make more than 1 year of emotional growth in a calendar year. So our first task is to invite people to the circle who can give their time and attention to give it a try. And we've got to get started. Okay, time's of the essence, people. All right. Uh, as of this writing, we're a small group that puts on the training, but we hope to help expand the practice by providing a series of handbooks that take you step by step through hosting an empathy circle, putting on an empathy online facilitator training, and mounting an in-person empathy facilitator training. We've released a draft of the first handbook that covers our history, core philosophy, and provides practical advice on how to host your own empathy circle. The second book will contain the same background as the first book, explain our educational priorities, and take the reader through the steps of an online training. In addition, it provides script templates that you can use, as well as sample emails to both the participants who are learning to facilitate and to the training team who collaborate to put on the training. This training is done 1 day a week over 4 consecutive weeks. The third book, covering an in-person training, will provide the same information as books 1 and 2, but condenses the training into 2 sessions each on 2 consecutive days. It adds some theater games from Viola Spolin's library and some more role-playing and some other communal activities such as shared meals to deepen the shared experience. Our fourth book will be a compilation of all 3 and will add information on strategies to introduce the empathy circle into business, schools, and other institutions. And we have the skeleton of that, but I'm depending upon all you out there to give me concrete examples so we can add it to the handbook. So it's still a work in progress. We're copywriting them and releasing the books on the Creative Commons share-alike license, which allows free reproduction, translation, and distribution of the handbook if it's distributed free of charge and attribution is made to the Empathy Center. Over the years, we've met people who are in dire financial need. If that need is established, we will license the handbook to those people that would allow them to make a profit. The other activity that we engage in is bringing out the empathy tent to farmers markets, street fairs, and political demonstrations on the left and the right. We canvass the crowd and offer chocolates and empathic listening. In our last outing at a local street fair, we made connections and listened. What we found is that so many people feel unheard, and when they're given a chance to unburden themselves, they feel a great deal of relief. In this last outing, we listened to a woman who feared for her friends and family in Palestine, an older woman estranged from her nieces and nephews, and a man worried about his relationship with his daughter after a divorce. In the past, I listened to a troubled young man living on the streets who found great comfort in being able to share his story with a non-judgmental listener. There was also a woman in the middle of a dispute with her neighbor, an ex-military explosive expert, and what started out as a heated argument changed into a calm conversation about appropriate boundaries, and peace reigned once more. When possible, we try to get people on opposing political ideologies to agree to participate in the circle. It's hard, but when it happens, people's lives are changed. Of course, you're attending an empathy summit where we hope to gather our wisdom, meet others who share our goals, and find the inspiration to continue our work. So this is great, and hopefully you'll all keep it going. The other projects that are in the work are Edward Rutch's Defining Empathy book and Lou Zweier's class on how to facilitate a restorative circle process, which is a much more intense process. So this is an invitation to all of you to take that first step in the empathic path, to join the empathy movement, to walk it at your own pace, and help remind other fellow humans of what experiencing our common humanity really feels like. Thanks for giving your time to empathy on this day. I'll briefly answer questions on any of the four subjects that I've posted in the chat if there's time. And then if there's not, you can email me if you want to find out more. Thank you so much.
So that was wonderful. Thank you. Did you have anything you want to expand upon the questions you put in the chat?
I don't know. I didn't look in the chat. Does anybody ask any questions, or we'll take some questions from the field if you have anything about those?
Nothing in the
Nothing in the chat?
chat yet.
Okay.
Nothing in the chat yet. When you're asking, are you asking for questions about our philosophy or experiences from our philosophy?
What I'm asking is that if you have any interest in any of the projects that we're doing, ask me some questions and, I could tell you how to get involved, or I can tell you what it's like, or if you wanted to mount your own empathy tent excursion, something like that. So if you have any questions about that and then how to manifest it. Yeah.
I have a
Oh,
question.
fantastic.
Yeah.
What's been your most impactful kind of experience, like working in this empathy movement for the past 7 years? Like, what's really stood out for you?
Well, there are very many that stood out for me. Um, but I would say that in our last training, we had a woman an Afghani woman, who was fleeing the Taliban. And she was living in a quasi-legal state in Pakistan. Um, and I, we had been in a circle, a peace circle online, and she had come in there and she helped translate and also explain the empathy circle to other women who didn't really speak the language and didn't understand it. Despite all of her problems, I imagine living in a refugee camp, your day is pretty full. And she took the training. She was a wonderful participant, and she really felt relief. And I guess so, to answer your question, what was really so profound for me is how important it is to be heard, how it's as important as air and food and water and shelter and everything else, because we need to know where we stand with our fellow human beings. And that's been lost. And I believe the empathy circle is a way to restore that.
I would agree with all of that. I know we're not supposed to interject our own thoughts, but
And I would just say, she just emailed me and she's been granted asylum in Australia. So that's great. And she might need letters of recommendation. So I'll put that out. Uh, anyway. Okay. Any other questions, or I'm happy to.
raise your digital or physical hands. Any questions? Going, going. What do you say, or how do you advertise for an empathy tent? Good question, Emily.
Well, it depends where your venue is. If there's a big demonstration, it's in the moment. It's setting up. Our big tent was 10 by 10. And so it's like, one of those things, there's some chairs and things like that. If it's a farmer's market, you get permission. And we are a legitimate nonprofit, so you should be able to do that. Um, and for instance, in the last one we did, which was a street fair, you sign up for the street fair and then you can kind of piggyback onto their advertising, or send out an email, look for us at that. This was called, excuse me, the Sobrante stroll. So those are some of the ways but online, any way you can. um you know
And
okay.
it sounded like you had some templates and scripts for things like that. Is that correct?
In the handbook, what you will have is you'll have there's nothing that we do talk about the empathy tent, and we do link to that. But right now, the one we're talking about is a basic background of the empathy circle, our history, values, philosophy, and then also how to start your own empathy circle. And those other books will come out later.
Fantastic. Bill, thank you so much. Everything starts with empathy circle experience and learning the process, which is structured and flexible. Empathy circles create a space to experience empathy and what it means to ourselves. So the time is now. Empathy circle facilitation trainings are already available. The books are coming. You can support that by sending your examples and questions over to Bill. Save the chat because his information is in there. And come learn to be a facilitator, friends. We absolutely want you here. It is now my pleasure to introduce Jodie Jensen. Jodie is an empathy researcher at Brigham Young University and is going to talk about empathy circles in families. Talk to us, Jodie.
Okay, can you hear me okay? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Well, I am going to share my screen in just a minute, but I just wanted to, first of all, thank all of you for the opportunity to be here. I have had such a great pleasure to be able to get to know a few of the people who are involved in the Empathy Center and the Empathy Tents and the Empathy Circle. And I count it as a really deep privilege to be able to associate with all of you. I'm really humbled by the work that you're doing and the movement that you're trying to put forward. If you don't mind, I'm going to get a little bit vulnerable here and share a little bit of my backstory for why empathy matters to me in the first place. So, like she said, I'm going to be talking about empathy in the family because I do have a family of my own, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about the background of why that's important to me. So going all the way back to the year 2000, I think it was, when I was in high school. Some of you may remember this movie that came out, Miss Congeniality. I was in high school, so I was kind of obsessed with this movie when it came out. But with each of these contestants in this beauty pageant, they would say, I want world peace. And that was the kind of canned answer that they all gave. But I found myself thinking like she does at the end of the movie, but I really do want world peace. And so why are people saying that this is kind of just a canned thing that is something that you can't actually attain? Because at that point in my life, I was naive and starry-eyed, and I thought that I could change the world. And so to that end, I studied international development. And after that, I got a job in West Africa, and I deeply enjoyed my opportunity to serve people there and work and learn from people in Mali, West Africa. We worked with women and families. We worked with communities. We taught leaders how to be stronger leaders and business owners. We gave them micro loans. We helped build wells. We helped fund teachers so that the children could go to school. It was a deeply, deeply gratifying time of my life. But something that I saw that came out of that was a lot of the people that I was working with had a lot of compassion. They really wanted to help make a difference in the world. But something that they lacked was, and I'm not saying everybody lacked it, but something that we could all do better in our efforts to help other people was to have more empathy. And by that, I mean understanding other people's perspective. And so during this same time that I was working in Mali, West Africa, I actually found out that I was not going to be able to have children. So I had an ectopic pregnancy that nearly took my life and did some serious damage internally. And so with that, I really threw myself into my work because I thought, I mean, being a parent was something that I always wanted. I knew it was going to be part of my future, and now it was not going to be part of my future. And so I found that I was okay with it because I had a meaningful type of work that I could be involved in. But a miracle did happen. My husband and I were able to have our first child in 2010. And in that moment, my whole world shifted. And I went from focusing out here in the world, I call this my spheres of influence. I was focused out in the world and I was really wanting to change the world. I wanted world peace. But what I started to realize, we can kind of imagine this as like a cross-section side view. It goes deep. When you focus on areas that are closer to the center of your spheres of influence, you might not have as broad of an influence in the world, But what I found was that I had a much deeper influence. I was able to help my children write their story from the beginning. And beyond all medical reasoning, I don't even know how these miracles happened, but I've been able to have 4 more children, and they have blessed my life in immeasurable ways. I've been deeply grateful for the opportunity that I've had to be a mother. So I want to kind of fast forward to the last few years. After I knew I was done having children, I started looking back out to the broader world. So I had been focusing on self and family so deeply, and I found so much gratification there. But I started to think, what else is outside of this? And so I started moving my view a little bit further outside. But I wanted to be able to focus on my family as well. So I started blogging about our experience as a family learning emotional intelligence. And online, I found a community of parents who were deeply yearning and hungering for more resources to help their children to become more emotionally intelligent. And so over the course of a few years, I wrote this book. You can find it on Amazon if you're interested. Teaching Your Children Emotional Intelligence. This is a workbook that I created. Through the process, I found that not only was my family's life being really enhanced and bettered through this process, but other people's families were able to improve as well in their communication. So I found that perhaps this was a way that I could kind of bridge the gap between focusing on myself and my family and also focusing on the outside world. So fast forward again to today, I'm now studying psychology. I'm getting a PhD right now. And for the past 9 or 10 months, I've been working with Edwin on the empathy definition project. And so I wanted to kind of get into a little bit of the definitions. And with his permission, I'm going to share the current model of the way that we're conceptualizing the definition of empathy. And if you saw my talk last summit, we can see that there are a lot of convoluted definitions out there in academia and also in people's current lay understanding of what their word means. But in terms of how it is conceptualized within the empathy circle and through Edwin's intense research that he's done over the past 15 years or so, and my own as well, this is kind of the model that he's come up with, and I feel privileged to be able to share it with you with his permission again. And so I just want to kind of walk through this and then show you how it maps onto my experience in the Empathy Circle training that just finished last week. So I'm now officially an Empathy Circle facilitator, which is exciting. But then also my experience is sharing the Empathy Circle with my family. All right, so we start here with self-empathy. So understanding yourself. And so that really overlaps heavily with emotional intelligence, because the models of emotional intelligence are kind of your understanding of yourself, your regulation of yourself, but then also understanding other people and interacting effectively. So I like that this model is a very emotionally intelligent model of empathy that also includes that self-empathy component. Basic empathy is the way that it can be understood is the interpersonal bridge. So leaving your inner world and venturing into the world of somebody else. And so that would be the role of a listener in an empathy circle. Imaginative empathy, and Edwin has said that this is often not something that is used in the empathy circle. There are specific cases where it's really effective to use this in an empathy circle, but I will share a little bit of my thoughts about imaginative empathy as well. Then there's mutual empathy, which is a shared understanding and connection. So that is the overall quality of the group. So if you have an empathy circle, you can start to think, how is our empathic, our mutual empathy within this group? And then based on this shared understanding that we have this mutual empathy, then we work together toward empathic action. And I like that he has here, this is mutually agreed action. And so if we are wanting to make a decision about how to help someone, like in my experience working in West Africa, if we were to more deeply understand the needs of the people we're helping and also the strengths of the people that we're helping, then we can get a better understanding of what would we be best for them. And I think that that's very applicable in our family relationships, in our work relationships, in all of our relationships, understanding first and then moving forward. Okay, I love this quote from Carl Jung. He says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So I just wanted to share a quick experience. I'm going so overtime on this, so I'm going to keep this brief and try and get to the most important bits of this. So in the empathy circle training, there was a time when I was the speaker and my active listener was the facilitator, and he was really focused on making sure he had the timer going, and so there was a moment when I was saying something that he actually kind of missed what I was saying. And so when he reflected back to me, it wasn't quite what I had intended. And so in that moment, I had to practice some self-awareness. I had to have some self-empathy and also some mutual empathy to understand, oh, the way that I'm communicating is not being well received. So I love that both of these, actually all three of these, so self-empathy, basic empathy, and mutual empathy, actually also empathic action were at play in that, because I had to have self-awareness to recognize that I was not being understood. And that was also an understanding of the level of empathy within the group. So I had to engage in some empathic action by changing the way that I was communicating in order to help my listener better understand what I meant. This has also played out with my family. I have 6-year-old twins, and they love the empathy circle. They think that it's a really wonderful experience where they can feel seen and they can feel heard. But there have been times where their ability to engage in basic empathy is very rudimentary, because when I say it's your turn to reflect back, they just repeat word for word what the person has said. So if one of them says, I love my family, the other one will just repeat back, I love my family. So it's been an interesting opportunity for me to meet them where they are and help them by scaffolding on top of their understanding. And I'm going to show you this. This is in line with Lev Vygotsky's zone of proximal development. And so where they are, where they can do something very comfortably on their own is right here. But perhaps for my children, especially my 6-year-olds, stepping out into this new framework of active listening and reflective listening is something that they can do with help. And so I'm scaffolding. I can show you this right here. If you can see this, this is a beautiful building, right? So where they are is a beautiful place. And from there, we scaffold on the outside to help them to grow and to progress. This is just a fun little graphic that kind of shows, this is adapted from John Gottman's book, Raising an Emotionally Intelligent Child. So often when we see that our children are not understanding what we want them to understand, we just get frustrated. So this child is just living her best life and her parents are over here frustrated. So what I would recommend in all of our interactions with people who have different understandings from us, and specifically with our own children, is we need to walk down this path of empathy, join them where they are, affirm that where they are is legitimate, and then start coaching. Because too often we jump to, oh, you're doing it wrong, and we start coaching, but we need to affirm that where they are is legitimate and it's okay. Okay, so I don't have time to talk about imaginative empathy, but maybe in a future summit, I'll talk about some of the thoughts that I have about that. Basically, my main takeaway with that is that children love imagination. They love putting themselves into different scenarios and acting things out. And so I'm excited to implement that into my empathy circles with my children. And so just to conclude, I have seen all areas of this framework play out in the empathy circle training and also with my family. And I feel deeply gratified to have been a part of this. And again, I'm very grateful for Edwin and all those who have provided empathy to me, because I have found that it has blessed my life. And I hope to be able to bless the lives of other people through this process as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jodie. That was amazing. I heard moving from I can change the world and literally doing that through holy bunches of family trauma to hope. I heard starting with that deep influence, that self and family space, and then sharing that up and out from that depth. And I heard mirroring that into that in out practice with those 5 parts of the holistic empathy so that we can change the world. And we're doing that. Empathy scaffolding. Oh, I love that. Okay, everybody, make sure you check out Jodie's book, Teaching Your Children Emotional Intelligence Without Losing Your Own. Any parent couldn't understand how helpful that will be.
Yeah, I'm going to
Thank
put that in the chat as well.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you, Jodie. It is now my pleasure to bring up Daniel Hertz coming in with a group. Daniel is a musician, teacher, a workshop leader. He focuses on fostering wholeness, connection, and peace through music, breath, and energy work. He produces the Breath for Peace album, produced conscious breathing and drumming courses online and in person, and developed holistic tuning. Today, Daniel is going to talk about the music of empathy circles. Take it away, Daniel.
Hey, everybody. What you see, and welcome. I'm excited to be here, and I'm talking about a topic that is very fresh to me, the connection between empathy circles and drum circles. Even while I'm preparing for this presentation, I get constantly kind of new ideas. So it's just a little image, a little what's the word, flashlight on the momentary development on this. And here in the background, you can see this is last night, downtown Phoenix. I've been doing this I talked to some people for about 25 years, maybe even 30 years. When we lived here pretty much every month on first Friday, people come together here in Phoenix. Phoenix is a weird city. You cannot walk around. It's all too big and too hot and whatever. But so this is a special time. Everybody comes out. And again, yesterday, we brought together people from all regions of life, with all skin colors, all levels of class, all ages, everything. You have moments. We had a moment yesterday where I would think this was probably 300 people with the circle of drums. Inside the circle were younger people doing their collective dancing thing, a thing I've never seen in the way they do it now. But they were totally engaged with us. We were making the music for them, and around us we had people participating with little shakers and them watching it. It's just a feeling of a global village right there, and it's produced through the music and the drum circle. So I want to share one little thing with you here. You probably don't see my drum because of this weird thing of the background. Oh yeah, here it is. It flashes in and out. Here we go. Let me know if you hear it. So that's one example. It's a steady beat. And in general, what I know is that people enjoy a steady beat. It's very relaxing. It does something to us. When we rock a baby, steadiness of that rocking of the beat is extremely important. Now compare it to this. So obviously, you can tell the difference between a steady beat and this sort of noisy, chaotic randomness. And when I first heard about empathy circles from Ingrid, she brought empathy circles, like so many things she brought into my life. And when she described it, I immediately thought that the component of keeping time and speaking in a rhythm around the circle, that it reminded me of drum circles. because it's a beat. And what is a beat? That in itself took me a long time to realize, that the beat really in its heart is predictability for us. In our consciousness, when somebody plays a beat, we start to see that we can connect with that beat. We can predict that beat, and because of the predictability of that beat, now I can start my own beat and I can join in with that person, so we play together. Now, if a person plays some beat and changes it constantly, which happens in the bickering drum circles where people are not really trying to get together but to play at each other, just to intersect this, when somebody plays like that, you cannot really connect. Any moment it changes, it becomes unpredictable. And I leave this up to you to reflect on our political sphere and our way of living right now, how much unpredictability is in there by design, so that we're not relaxing and not really getting together. So what my point is, that the two tenets that I would connect both drum circles and empathy circles with is, one is total inclusivity. Everybody who's here is included. Nobody will be told, no, you cannot speak because you don't have the right attitude or whatever it may be. We include everybody. We want to listen to everybody. And that's a core tenet that is kind of 100% for me, at least. I leave that up to you, but for me it is, I got to include anybody and everybody, no matter how they show up. That is also true for drum circles for me. Total inclusivity and a listening to everybody. The other aspect is the beat. In the drum circle, the beat is essential. And in an empathy circle, and this is kind of the point of my talk, the beat, as we go around, and for those who have done a number of empathy circles, you know the feeling when it sort of feels like we're getting into a rhythm. The listening and the sharing and becomes like a rhythmic thing, and it is so comforting. It produces a very relaxed foundation in which the speaking occurs and the listening occurs. And I believe that the beat is an essential part of that. And so in a way, you could say what the empathy circle taught me about drum circles is that drum circles are also just like a way of structured relating with each other. And I shared this with some of the drummers, and everybody goes, yeah, that makes sense. So we get together as humans and we agree, okay, we stop talking and now we get into the beat. And what that allows us is that we all of a sudden we're in a space where all kinds of people have space. Everybody can drum with me. It doesn't matter what political orientation they have. Doesn't matter what they believe in. Doesn't matter if they're super well at drum or super good at drumming or not. The drum circle is different. It's an invitation to use the beat, to get along, and to feel a sense of community that is otherwise very hard to accomplish. Because music, and when you think about it, music is a way how we all can speak at the same time, especially if it's communal music like that. So everybody has a voice, and yet at the same time, we have a sense of being connected. Now, it turns out that just recently, science has pretty much, with very little doubt around it, with great assurance, determined that we made music long before we started talking to each other. And that from the very initial, very rudimental music, that we developed something they call actually muzilanguage or something like that. And that's what you all can imagine, that we communicated in very simple symbolic language, just basics of life with each other. And that the idea that the rhythm of the music is the container that brings people together, and then of course singing together is just the same thing, just on a different kind of level. So the interesting, amazing thing about drum circles is, and you can see this easily, is that we're combining individuality with communal aspect. And while you're in a drum circle, you sort of have to negotiate that all the time. So let me take just a moment to tell you what a drum circle is a little bit more specifically. Basically, we're setting up a circle of drums and a circle of chairs, and then we try to play together. And the interesting thing is, you can bring people together that never drummed before. Last night, there were people who said, I never drummed. They sit down, they drum for the first time, and it's just an amazing thing to watch. When they trust their sense of beat, they can participate. And that obviously is not the same thing like standard music is. It is what I call music for the people, or not people for the music. Here we don't get together to make a fixed idea of music and then fulfill that idea as much as possible, and have a product, sort of like a product, which is what 99% of the music we share in this world are products, are transactional, are sold and bought and pushed and all these things, and commodified, and most of all, they're very competitive. Musicians compete a lot against each other to get the higher space on the pay scale or even on their attention. Well, drum circles on music for the people is completely different, has nothing to do with that. We actually use the music to get people together, to include more and more people, and to create a sense of this communal field that when we stop, in the end, we carry that feeling with us. I still carry it today, that tremendous feeling of community that's, to me, always felt like I'm charging my batteries. I'm resetting myself, I'm working through stuff, I'm opening up, and it's actually very therapeutic. And to me, that's also a link to the empathy circle. Because for me, and I leave that up to you, I shared this with a number of people, and we shared it while we were in the circle, that we have an increased sense of being connected, even when we are online with each other. How that exactly works, I'm not sure. But it is clearly there that when we are circling with each other, that I feel different at the end than I felt in the beginning. Toward the end, I feel this sense of connectedness, which I actually think is because we're all sharing a space internally that is connected in ways that we still just find out. So I want to, there's so much more that I could talk about, predictability, all kinds of things that I have to manage in my head because I've only got a couple minutes left over. I want to just say this. I think we have a listening crisis in the world. We are in a situation where it's very, very difficult. In our political sphere, there's no listening right now. People don't even want to negotiate any longer. And it's a breakdown. And for me, what we're doing with our music and with the empathy circles is reversing that listening trend and opening the listening space bigger and bigger in our world. And I think this is a really amazing and wonderful mission. And the last thing I want to say is something practical. So if you're a drum circle facilitator, an empathy circle facilitator, when you're afraid to interrupt somebody because they keep talking, or when things drag on too much, and think a little bit about keeping the beat for everybody. Maybe that helps you to feel the authority to say, hey, let's take a moment and let the person reflect, or let's switch to the next speaker, and these kind of things. It's all about keeping the beat. Thank you for this, and I'll be back with more.
You're muted, Kara.
Look, I'm just talking to myself over here now. Daniel, thank you so much. This was amazing. I heard connecting beat to the pulse of an empathy circle could level up like the meditation, the relaxation, that nervous system regulation that's already happening in the circle. I heard inclusivity alignment from drum circles to empathy circles and the rhythm of connection, space for all, invitation to use the beat of community to get along together, singing, drumming, empathizing, combining those individuals with communal activities. That is how we address the listening problem in the world. Keep that beat going. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It is my delight to bring up Sylvia. Sylvia, a MARDN, trainer, facilitator, assessor, and author, has been sharing nonviolent communication worldwide since 1989 and was a student of Marshall Rosenberg and the founder of the nonviolent communication. Today, Sylvia is going to speak on empathetic listening in an empathy circle, a profound process of healing and connection. Take it away, Sylvia.
Thank you, Kara. And yeah, thank you, Edwin. I've known you for quite a while, and I think you were interviewed me many, many years ago, and it's exciting to see what's changed and how this movement has grown. So very happy to be included here. I was a student, as Kara said, with Marshall Rosenberg, and my colleague Tova Widstrand is also here. And we're going to just give you a little demonstration of empathic listening according to the Rosenberg work of nonviolent communication. Before I do that, I want to share a screen really quick. And I want to share kind of what empathy isn't, because I think what we've been talking about today is pretty much in alignment with what we're saying. So just to take a quick look at this slide, what empathy is not. Don't just do something, be there. So often when we listen to fix or we listen to respond. It wasn't your fault. We respond with, I think you should have. You can learn something if you only did. How did this happen to you? You should hear what happened. Don't worry about it, you poor thing. I feel terrible for you. These are all sort of the responses that we find are not empathic responses. They're responses often that brings the attention back to me rather than staying present with who's speaking. Sometimes we just get into jumping on their own wagon of blame. So he did that to you, what a jerk, we could get into. Or if you hadn't been so rude, if you really cared, you would have. Sorry, it's my fault. I'm so stupid. So those are the ways that we can start blaming ourselves or blaming the other person, but actually not really listening in the way that we're talking about here. So I'm gonna ask Tova to play with me a bit. She's going to give us a situation that might be stirred in her that she might want some empathy for. Some of you are familiar with nonviolent communication, so you know about my tools, my puppets. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen with my giraffe ears on, which means I'm going to really focus in on feelings and needs that she might be expressing. So welcome, Tova. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you. Yes, I have chosen a fairly simple example that hopefully demonstrates how NVC works in a situation like I'm going to describe. This is me and my neighbor friend, and we have been to the movies, and we have used my car because she doesn't have anyone anymore, and we are just parking outside the house where we both live and stepping out of the car and kind of reflecting on the evening. And then it comes up for me that, oh, I wonder how long am I going to keep my car? It's really getting more and more expensive and I don't use it that much anymore. And yeah, it's really getting too expensive. So I'm seriously considering, do I need it anymore? Shall I sell it? Yeah. And it's just a reflection that I'm doing right out into the open.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm hearing there might be some confusion, wanting to get some clarity on what to do around the car.
Yeah, I'm realizing I'm not using it as much as I used just a couple of years ago. And And it's mainly the expenses. It's really, and I'm not young anymore. I mean, it's tough out there to be driving. And I can notice that I'm not reacting as quickly as I used to do. And I get worried sometimes.
So the worry about maybe safety and wondering about the finances. So really wanting to preserve maybe your resources for things that you'd rather be spending money on.
Yes, yes, that's right. And let me interrupt here for a moment, because what my friend did in this situation was kind of taking a deep breath, looking at me and she said, "Oh, you should really keep your car as long as you can. You know, it's wonderful to have a car. I'm missing my car every day. So just keep it as long as you can." So that was the way that she met me. And I just felt how I, inside myself, kind of locked down. I lost connection with myself. I was in a process of sharing something that is going on for me. And instead of being with me, she just told me her opinion and gave me this advice about how I should do.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
some irritation, maybe some annoyance, really wanting just to be heard without being fixed or given solutions.
Exactly. I was not asking for advice. I want to be in my own process. I will figure this out, but it doesn't help to get somebody who's almost jumping on me and telling me what to do and not to do.
Yeah. So sounds like you might be concerned and wanting some autonomy, wanting a sense that you can choose. You don't need support in that way.
Yeah, I'm a grown-up person. I've had my car for so many years, and I know exactly how much it costs, and I can check my finances and see, does it make sense to me or keep it or not? But I am in this process, and I want to be in this process.
Yeah. You want to honor your process. It's kind of annoying to have somebody think that they know what's right for you.
Yeah, I'm not interested in her process. I'm interested in my process.
Yeah. You're interested in your own process, really wanting to respect your own process.
Yeah. Nothing else at this moment. Nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm hearing too that this might be a pattern with this person, I'm guessing. So there's also some frustration that you're often not heard the way that you'd like.
Well, it happens again and again. When I share something that is alive for me, I get this advice about how to do certain things, about my relationships or my own businesses. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It's very annoying.
Yeah. So the annoyance is pretty standard, pretty regular. And
Yes, I'm tired of it.
yeah, maybe wanting some relief from that and wishing she was able to listen in a different way.
Well, in fact, I would like to find a way to share NVC with her so that she could receive it. That would be something that I guess would be valuable for both of us.
Have a shared conversation, a shared understanding of maybe a different way to talk that would really be nurturing for both of you.
Yeah, yeah. I think that would shift the relationship, in fact. Would be more fun to be together, do things together.
Yeah. Support more fun, more desire even to spend time together is what I'm hearing too.
Yeah, absolutely. More relaxed. Yeah.
Yeah. More relaxed and maybe just some relief trying not having to brace yourself when you talk to her to know that is she going to respond in a way that I'm connected to, or am I going to lose myself in the connection?
Yeah, and I have so many NVC contacts around me. So each time this happens, it's almost like a shock when I am getting this kind of an almost brutal response when I'm used to being met with some maybe silence or understanding or just quietness and some support in being more clear about my process. Yeah.
Yeah. So a little a little shocking to hear kind of the response, especially since many of your people in your community that you connect with have a really different way of hearing each other, more with empathy.
Exactly, exactly. I wish everybody could do this.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm full.
Well,
Yes.
so just kind of unraveling what we did here, and the reason I'm wearing my giraffe ears, because Marshall Rosenberg used these little toys, and the giraffe has one of the largest hearts of any land animal, for those of you not familiar. So we use the giraffe ears to connect. So if you noticed what I attempted to do anyway was just to connect with their possible feelings and needs, and that's the empathic process we use in nonviolent communication. Just reflecting. And then sometimes when we get into it and we've been more skilled, we often do some what we call street giraffe, which is maybe not so much just the feelings and needs, but getting the flavor. So it's a little different than reflective listening, which I've heard some people talk about today. For me, it's getting more to the depth. And I think it was somebody else that mentioned, one of the speakers earlier, how somebody goes on and on. And what I find with empathic listening in this way, just offering presence, that we often can get to the core to support the person being heard, to sort of unpeel their own onion, to get to their own core truth. And there's some calm, there's some relief, like that beat that Daniel was talking about. We get to some shared connection just by that interchange. Anything else you want to say about how it was for you, Tova?
Well, it's always astonishing, even in a role play, how much alive it becomes, and how when I am received, I'm heard, I find new layers in myself of my own truth about what is really going on, and it brings some calmness to me. So I can easier, when I find myself in a similar situation, I can easier get access to my own ability to say my own truth or to stay with the other person, because the connection is much more alive.
So just the unraveling. Sounds like just by doing that process helps you get more clarity and more calm, more peace, more maybe connection to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I can also solve my own problems much easier. And I can also ask for advice. If I come to a certain point, then I can say, okay, now, how did you think about it when you gave up your car? Then I'm ready to receive the other person.
Yeah. Once you've already unraveled your own process and gotten
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's really what I find happens often, when we're given enough empathic presence, then we can come to our own best solutions rather than the fix-it jackal, which I've been often accused of. And that's the jackal is sort of the one that wants to blame and shame and criticize in nonviolent communication. So those are those ears that I could also choose to wear. Well, thanks, Tova. Appreciate your offering. And I think I want to share one more slide with you. These are some of the processes, the actual listening with empathy process. So it basically starts with when you, and we could leave that out as well, or we could just start to tune into feelings and needs. And then we ask what the request might be, what we're imagining they might be wanting. And that has nothing
Sylvia,
to,
we don't see your screen.
you don't see my screen. Okay, thank
Do
you.
not see it. Yeah,
Appreciate that.
because I want to see what this is.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
There we
here we go.
Yeah. So listen
One
for the
moment.
meaning, the heart of the message, what's behind the pain or celebration. It's a sensing. I would say the guessing process is, to me, not as alive, because sometimes when we guess, we're trying to get it right, as opposed to just being present with another person's humanity. So we're just stating what it is they said, if we do, or we just do a shortcut and just tune into the feelings and needs. And then we might also put out what we imagine they might be wanting, what their request might be in that situation. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Tova. It was fun to play together.
Yes, always fun.
Sylvia, thank you so much. We have a question in the comments.
Yeah.
Can this same strategy be used to find causes for community issues?
Absolutely. So I've done this work in many, many different contexts. In fact, I have a community mediation that's coming up with a particular issue in the community in Tucson where I live. That's coming up the end of this month. So absolutely. I've worked with Arabs and Jews in conflict, like really high level, difficult stuff. So it can be used, as far as I've understood, it can be used anywhere. I've worked in business and schools and prisons.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
Sylvia,
fact,
thank you again.
um,
This was amazing. Nonviolent communication, NVC, and empathy circles. I learned today that giraffe has the largest heart of any land animals. That's fantastic information that is now lodged in my brain. And thank you for modeling so that we could see the experience and understand the impact of nonviolent communications, feelings, and needs in that empathetic reflection of empathy circles. Stacking those tools to get new depths of each experience. Powerful. Thank you so much.
thank you.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Jennifer Brummer. Jennifer has spent the last 2 years working with Grok the World, an organization dedicated to fostering emotional intelligence and connection through interactive tools and games based on nonviolent communication. She is currently working towards becoming a CNVC certified trainer. And she's going to talk to us about using Grok the World in games to enhance empathy circles. Take it away, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Kara. It's a pleasure to be here. Hello, everybody. My name is Jennifer Brummer, and it was a beautiful introduction. I appreciate it. I work for Grok the World, and I'm going to play a little bit of games with you guys, lighten up the NVC mood with some feelings and needs vocabulary games and practice. So let's dive right in because I know we've got 15 minutes. I want to make it as full as I can. So I put in the chat box groktheworld.com. That's our website. We sell a lot of different products that are all related to teaching nonviolent communication through games. And if you would like, in the chat right now, I just put in a link for a free Grok starter kit. So before even considering making a purchase, you can feel free to click on that. That's free. You could print it out later, cut it out, and play the games at home and just see how it goes. So any questions about Grok as a company before we dive into the games? All right, so let's start by playing a game called Name a Feeling, which is pretty self-explanatory. So if you have a list, feelings list, easily accessible, or you could use the starter kit that I just put in the chat. Let's just put in the chat box what we're feeling in this moment. Curious, amazed, awed, more curious, cool. And me, I'm nervous. Expansive, intrigued, open, ambivalent. Awesome. Tired, yeah. All right, so just doing this as a quick check-in with a group is just a really nice way to see where everybody's at and get a gauge for the feelings that are circulating in the group. Interested, a little anxious, yeah. All right, well, thank you guys. So that's our first very simple game. So there you go, we've already played. All right, now we're going to play a little bit more of a guessing game. So I'm going to just change my view so I could see everybody a bit better. There we go. And I would like two brave volunteers who would like to start. And the two volunteers, what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes, and the rest of us, I will show a Grok card to. Okay. This is feelings charades. So the rest of the group, once the two volunteers uncover their eyes, we're going to act it out. Those of you who have cameras on, great. If you don't have your camera on, no pressure whatsoever. If you want to turn it on and participate, that would be helpful for the game, but no worries if not. So let's get started. Can I have two brave volunteers that would like to go first as the guessers? Oh, Am I pronouncing this right? Tarja.
Tarja.
Tarja. Thank you so much, Tarja. All right, we've got Tarja and one more volunteer to join forces with Tarja, so we take a little bit of the pressure off of her. Jeanette, thank you. Okay. So before we start, I just want to let you know what I'm going to show you first is our Big Grok deck. Okay, we've got a variety of different products, so we're going to start with Big Grok. So Tarja and Jeanette, please close your eyes. And the rest of the group, I'm going to show you the first feeling card that we're going to act out with our facial expressions. All right, there's the card. Okay. All right. And Tarja and Jeanette, please open your eyes. And the rest of the group, when I count to 3, we're all going to act it out the best way we can. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Scared?
You
Shocked?
got to guess for scared. All right. Was that Jeanette? I couldn't tell.
I said shocked.
Oh, shocked. All right, keep going. Let's see if we could get closer. I mean, there's no wrong answer. It's just to build the fluency in a fun way. Keep going, keep going.
Surprised?
Yeah, Tarja, you got it. Thank you. Prize, well done. All right, good job. Thank you for your participation. Can we do one more round of that game before we move on to the next? Now that we have a better idea of what to expect, and Tarja and Jeanette, you missed this part, but this is what the Big Grok deck looks like. The cards are pretty large. It's nice if you're facilitating a group in person, like a larger group, so they could see it a little easier than the smaller cards, which I'll show you in a later game. All right, so can we have 2 more brave volunteers for one more round? All right, we've got Jonathan, thank you. And one more, and can I call you Melsiers? Okay, Jonathan and Melsiers. All right, Jonathan and Melsiers, please close your eyes. And the group, I'm going to show you the card. Ready? Group, here's the card. Okay. All right, Jonathan and Melsiers, you may please open your eyes. And the group, when I count to 3, let's act that out. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Totally bored.
Okay, Jonathan said totally bored. Melsiers, do you agree? Disagree? I can't even find you. You're somewhere on my screen. Oh, you're muted.
Impatient.
Impatient. All right. So all in the same category, same family, right? So it was bored. Well done. Okay, good job. All right. Actually, can we do now let's move to the next one. Okay, thank you very much. So that's a fun little warm-up game. As you can see, it's a good thing if you're facilitating an MVC group or something and there's like coming back from a bathroom break, you want to shift the energy, get people moving and laughing a little bit in between. It's a fun little way to play with some feelings and needs. And in my personal experience, I learn best with games. It just helps to embed the vocabulary a bit easier into my brain. I work best like that, and maybe some of you will agree. So anyway, now we'll get into the next game. It's another guessing game, but this time I'm going to show you guys our classroom kids set. So if you know anybody who teaches children and wants to bring NVC into the classroom, these are our classroom cards. They're big, they're fun. They could be hung up on like a clothesline with clothespins. That's the needs. You have a primary need and then some synonyms down there. Okay. And we also have the feelings one as well, like worried, concerned, and nervous. I've got young children at home, and for a while these were decorating my hallways. And we also have the Kids Grok deck, which is the same thing, but just smaller. So if you want to play with a child at home or in a classroom or wherever you want, that's another option. All right, so this game is a feelings guessing game, and the prompt is, I might feel this way if. I'll type it in the chat box. So similar to charades, I'm going to ask for 2 volunteers to cover your eyes, But this time, instead of acting it out, I'm going to ask for 3 people in the group to prompt the guessers with a prompt. So, for example, if I'm saying worried, that was the one that I chose. If I show the card worried to the group, then I would ask 3 people in the group to say, I might feel this way if I have a big test coming up. Or I might feel this way if I'm not sure what the plans are for tomorrow, or so on and so forth. So we're just going to prompt with that sentence or something similar. All right, is everybody clear on how the game goes? Any questions? So we'll learn as we go, right? So can we have 2 brave volunteers for this one to close your eyes and guess? Anybody?
I can be a volunteer.
Oh, thanks, Sandra. Okay. Is it Sandra or Sandra?
Yeah, Sandra.
Sandra. Okay, cool. All right, Sandra and Kara, thank you. Kara and Sandra. All right, and I would like Kara and Sandra to please close your eyes, and the group, I will show you the card. All right, Sandra and Kara are closing. All right, here is the card. I'll show you the whole card, and I'm gonna zoom in. Don't look, Kara. Wait. I saw the hand go down. Okay, she's still closing. So there's the main feeling, but we'll also accept those synonyms down there. Okay. All right, Sandra and Kara, please open your eyes. And if anybody is drawn to just unmute yourself and say, I might feel this way if, and give an example of when you might feel that feeling that I just showed you. We'll go through 3 volunteers before Sandra and Kara will attempt to guess it.
I see in the chat, I might feel this way if I've been meditating.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for catching that. All right, thanks, Bob. Yep, if I've been meditating. All right, he might feel this way if he's been meditating. Cool. That's
Cam?
one. Yes?
Cam?
Oh, we're gonna wait two more prompts before we
Okay.
try to guess, because you know what? It's just a way of playing with these words in a way to show that we all experience these feelings in different situations. So some might resonate, some might not. Like some might feel calm when they're meditating, and some might feel stressed when they're meditating, and so on, you know? So after receiving empathy, okay, I might feel this way. Okay, receiving empathy. Thank you, Melciers. And one more volunteer. I might feel this way if. Feel free to put it in the chat or just shout out loud. Oh, I'm riding the bicycle. All right. Sylvia might feel this way if she's riding her bicycle, and Tarja might feel this way listening to classical music. Awesome. Ooh, we got a lot now. Cool. All right. So Kara and Sandra, after reading all of those sentences, do you have any guesses for what the feeling words might be? And there's, a variety of them that we'll accept.
Present.
Present. Okay. Sandra?
Feel happy.
Happy. Yeah. Why don't we come up with a few more and see if we could get a little closer to, I mean, they're all acceptable, obviously, but let's keep playing.
I heard grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Calm. I think that's what Sandra said first.
Yeah.
I think I feel
yeah.
I don't know.
And that was actually the main one on the card. And I realized when I was giving that example in the very beginning, I said it and I was like, oh, but I'm just going to go with it and hope that nobody noticed. So then there's a few others. All right. Cool. Thank you, Kara and Sandra. Should we do one more round? 2 more volunteers for that game?
I think that we are at our 1 minute.
Oh, we're at 1 minute. Oh, already. That flew. All right. At the end of the 1 minute, I'm just going to give you one last game that we can play. I'll just show how it goes. It's basically the same as what we just did, but this time with needs. Okay. And what I would have done if we had time, using our flagship product, the Grok cards, we've got the feelings and needs cards, and we would use the prompt, this need gets met when. And I would show the volunteer fun and play. This need gets met when I'm riding my bicycle or something, or the need for reassurance gets met when a good friend tells me, it's all going to be okay and so on. So those are all kind of different kind of guessing games that you can play with our Grok products to build familiarity with the NVC process in a playful way. So thank you all. I'm sorry it took longer than I had planned for, but it was a pleasure to play with you guys for a bit.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Jen. Gamification.
Yeah.
Name the feeling charades. I might feel this way if, and a teaser on these needs get met when. Wow, amazing. Grok the World is making feelings fun and accessible, from kids cards to personal cards to facilitation cards. Gamification energizes, it engages, and it aids in learning. I certainly experienced that today. Thank you again.
Thank you, Kara.
Absolutely. It is now time to turn everything over to Jonathan. Jonathan.
Well, thank you, Kara. And I just am delighted by the speakers that we've had today. It's just so inspiring. So we're going to all leave the group in a few minutes, and we're going to form.
Hey, Jonathan, can we interrupt for a moment? I'm sorry. We just want to say goodbye. We're a whole group. We're going to do this amongst each other here. And just want to say goodbye, everybody. Wave goodbye.
Bye, Phoenix. Thanks for empathy circling and hanging out with us.
Thank you. Thank you to the presenters.
Bye.
Bye. Sorry, Jonathan.
I'm going to be going to.
Goodbye, everyone. And well, thank you. Now, I'd like to remind everyone that we have a feedback form, and we'd just love it after you're done today to fill out the feedback form. And so while Edwin is setting up the breakout rooms, I'm going to do a description of the basic empathy circle process. So when we break up into rooms, we have a topic, and the topic is going to be, what do you feel? What do you feel when you're in an empathy room? And Kara, could you post that? I can't post and chat at the same time. And most importantly, and this is one of the most important things I ever want you to remember, is that when we set a topic in an empathy circle, we also invite everyone present to just speak to what's on their mind. And this is the most democratic and mutual aspect of the empathy circles. There are 4 roles in the empathy circle process: the facilitator, the speaker, the listener, and the silent listeners that are present waiting for their turn. The speaker, and what's wonderful about this process is everyone in the circle gets a chance to speak. The speaker speaks on the topic or what's on their mind, and they speak in small segments, in a couple of sentences, and then they pause for a moment, and the reflective listener reflects back what they heard. And most importantly, the speaker says, "Yes, you understood me." And that's the basic handshake or transaction of understanding, which frankly drives the whole universe. The silent listeners who are waiting their turn, they're actually an active listener. And Carl Rogers points that out, that they listen to both sides of the conversation, and it gives them a much deeper and better understanding. The facilitator, which I'm going to be a facilitator in one of the breakout rooms, the facilitator's job is to keep the time, and each facilitator has some form of a timer. I haven't quite got used to the electronic timer, but the little electronic timer that some people use is wonderful, because it gives a beep and a noise. And so some people, when they're in an empathy circle, they're on a phone that doesn't show all the views. And so they don't see me waving my little sign, or in some instance, somebody will wave their phone. So if you find yourself facilitating, always make sure that your timing communication is heard or seen. Now, there's another little important note here that even though the time comes up or is indicated, we want to always, the speaker should always finish their thought, and then the reflective listener should always reflect back. And I want you to remember, most importantly, the confirmation. Carl Rogers calls it testing for understanding. And that's one of the most powerful ideas I've ever learned in my life. The facilitator will gently keep everyone in the process. And so if somebody is speaking too long or somebody is improperly reflecting, then the facilitator will gently bring them back to the process. Edwin, how's our time?
Yeah, I'm ready to make the rooms. We could use another facilitator. We have you and let's see, Larry, are you there? Could you host this one of the circles? Just one more facilitator. We have, oh, Bill, there's, Oh, there you are, Bill. Okay, yeah, I got a room, so you'll facilitate one room. So yeah, I think we're good now. Are you
I'd
ready
like
to
to
go
say,
into the circles?
well, one last comment. Your facilitator will mention in the circle whether they're doing 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and 5 minutes turns. And of course, that depends on how many people are in the room. And Edwin will be done at 12 noon if I Pacific time.
At 10 after. So we'll
10
be
after.
in this 1 hour in the circle. And there's our question in the chat. They just posted it in there.
Thank you.
So you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to go into the rooms and we'll come back in about an hour and we'll get a 10-minute heads up. And facilitating will be Jonathan in one room, Bill in the other, and I'll facilitate one as well. So here we go. See you in the empathy circle. Oh, should have done. Okay, this is our recorded room, just to give you a heads up. And I will be facilitating, unless Bob, do you want to facilitate, or Mel? Either of you want to be the
No,
first?
I think I'd break the rules.
Okay. Then I will facilitate, and I will be the first listener. So who would like to be the first speaker? And as you see, the topic is, what do you feel when you're in an empathy circle, or whatever's on your mind? And let me change the views here to the gallery. There we go. Okay, Bob, I'm listening.
When I'm in an empathy circle, I feel so welcomed and I feel that I belong.
So I'm hearing that you feel really welcomed and like a sense of belonging when you're in the empathy circle.
And the more circles I take part in, it seems like every bit of me, every molecule of me is blessed and sanctified and made wondrous.
And you feel like when you're in a circle, every part of you is kind of sanctified. And
it reminds me that it's a joy to be alive. And that's that's one thing I want to emphasize, just the joy of being alive. It doesn't require any particular condition. It's just the fact that I'm here is an inherent joy.
Yeah, you're really feeling that joy of life. Like this inherent joy to be here.
And the best part of that is just being with everybody else in the circle, that it's not my joy, it's our joy.
And it's like this sense of shared joy.
Yes. So I feel fully heard. Thank you,
Okay.
Edmund. Thank you very much.
I'll speak to Mel and
Oh, sure.
yeah. So how do I feel? I feel a little anxious and distracted because I'm also doing all the technical stuff in the background. So it depends on what my role is in the circle, like how I feel.
So right now you feel a little anxious and distracted because you're also having to monitor the tech stuff and fix text problems and stuff, and it's kind of using both sides of your brain.
Yeah. So the distraction, but when I'm just doing the empathy circle, I feel very calm and very relaxed. And even when I'm in doing conflict mediation, there's a certain sense of relaxation, knowing that everyone's going to be heard. And there's a structure to hold that. So it feels calm.
So when you're just doing the empathy circle, not having to worry about the tech part, you feel calm and relaxed, and you're grateful that the structure helps keep you on track, and you enjoy just being present.
Yeah, I feel heard.
Thank you. Um, well, my time. Let's see, who wants to listen to me? Cassell, you want to listen?
Okay.
Okay. Um, well, I love empathy circles. And when Sylvia started speaking, I was like, oh, I want to talk, because I just get so much reassurance when people really know processes. They know that I know she's not going to block me with giving me advice or judging me or any of those things. And so I can just speak freely about whatever's on my mind.
Great. Well, so I missed a little bit because some sort of message showed up on my computer, but I understand that you feel free to speak your mind and that people aren't going to argue with you or interrupt you, and so I think you referenced someone, but that's the part I missed.
Yeah, I was talking about Sylvia because she did the presentation on nonviolent communication,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm very familiar with nonviolent communication. So, when I first started playing with nonviolent communication, it was just really reassuring that people wouldn't collude with me, especially, they wouldn't agree with my own judgment because I didn't need that, but when I just got the pure empathy, it was just very freeing.
So yeah, okay. So when you first started doing it, you really enjoyed that people weren't gonna collude with you, but it was gonna be a pure empathy, pure reflection. So but they weren't buying in.
Yeah, I have a very strong jackal. Sylvia talked about jackals in her presentation. And man, I can cuss like a sailor, but I don't want anyone to, collude with that part of me, but I want that part to be heard. And it certainly doesn't get heard much when I'm throwing my judgments out there. So for have somebody have the skills to hear underneath my judgments and underneath that part of me and just hear the pure feelings and needs, it's very enlightening.
Yeah, so that part has insight. It really wants to be heard, but it needs to help to get a little deeper in order to actually get to the bedrock of what it's trying to say. And so you really appreciate it when people don't sort of take you at the surface and help you get down below, but they don't block you either.
Yes.
So I put it a little bit in my own words. I hope
No, that you heard me. I feel heard and I appreciate your reflection back.
Right.
So you can go now. You can.
Are we at time? I don't know at the time.
It doesn't matter. I'm giving up if I have extra time, but go ahead and pick a person to listen to you.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Edwin. We don't have 2 minutes. I'm confused.
We have 5 minutes or 3 minutes?
We have 3 minutes.
Oh,
Well, I'm sure we had 3 minutes.
No, Mel felt heard, so when she felt heard, it's up your
Okay, good.
turn. Mhm.
Great. Well, I'll pick Aaron. Aaron, say your name, please.
Aaron.
Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron.
Aaron. Because it's it's
Just Aaron. Just Aaron.
Aaron. Okay. Then will you be my listener?
Totally. Yeah. No. Totally. Totally.
Great. Well, I don't have any one thing I feel. I mean, the question was funny, how do I feel when I'm in an empathy circle? Because it's lots and lots of different things. Sometimes I feel happy, sometimes I feel frustrated. And I think the process is very rich. But there are times that I want to go deeper or hang out with something.
Okay, so I'm just gonna repeat it back. Let me know if I wrong or got it correct. So you do not feel one specific emotion. You feel lots of things, and sometimes you feel like you want to go deeper, but perhaps I'm not sure if I'm making this up. Perhaps the empathy cycles they are too short, perhaps, and you are not able to go deeper, or is that not fully correct? I do not know.
Uh, well, I just feel like there's something in the process that's extremely, extremely valuable. And yet I keep wondering what the next step is. So, I mean, it feels like to be able to hear one another accurately, feelings and everything else is ground zero for a conversation.
So you find empathy circles very valuable, and they are valuable to go deeper into conversations.
Well, they're valuable because so many conversations go off the rails because we didn't understand what the other person was talking about in the first place.
Okay. So empathy cycles for you are valuable because conversations usually go off the rails because you don't understand what, not you, but because
Oh, me, yes. But go ahead.
not you, because because in usual conversations people don't try to understand each other, but you feel, if I'm correct, you feel like empathy circles, if I am understanding correctly, do help other people, do help people understand each other, and so they do not go as much or at all off the rails.
Well, not that I wouldn't say at all because always can go off the rails, but there's something in them that helps you get back. You have a reference, which is just to understand that you understand.
Okay, so there's something in empathy circles that uh keeps them on the rails.
Yeah. Yeah, at least more than most.
Okay, that was the time. I just added, let's make it 4-minute turns. I think we can do a little bit more. So, yeah, Aaron, if you want to speak, select your listener.
Probably, Bob, would you like to be my listener?
I'm listening.
Yes. Okay, let's see. Let me see, what's the question? What do you feel? Okay, well, I can say right now, and I feel afraid. I feel afraid, very afraid. I feel so much fear in my stomach and my chest. Yeah, I feel afraid and a little bit of excitement because I wasn't expecting I was just listening into the Zoom, but then when they said, "Oh, we're going to do empathy cycles," I was like, "Wow, I didn't know this was here." So that was kind of cool. So a lot of fear, but there was a hint of excitement. So a bit of that.
So you're feeling fear and excitement, and there's a sense of energy that I detect too.
Yeah, no, that's totally. That is the thing. And the question, whatever is on your mind. Okay. Yeah, no, I guess I do not know so much. Usually, I do not know so much what to talk about when I go to empty circles. And that is okay.
So it's okay not to know.
It's okay not to know. Uh, and yeah, they're good. I've been going to Larry's empathy circles, Larry Lawhorn. Been going there maybe over the course of a year, and yeah, they've helped me with my conversational skills, so that's been nice.
You've been attending circles for about a year and it helps you with your conversational skills, which is very nice.
And I gotta get my career sorted out because I wanna move out of home, and yeah, I gotta make money. So I guess that is something that I am sort of dealing with or figuring out.
So you want to get your career in order so you can make some money and move out and move on to the next phase.
Yeah, no, correct. Um, um, I guess I think I want to make like videos online, but I want to do different things. So it's like usually if you have success, from what I see, not always, but you're supposed to like do one thing or have a theme, but I want to do different things and I can't make my mind up. So yeah, I don't know what I actually want to do.
You feel called to produce videos online and you're still looking around for a focus that you want to approach for your video success.
Very true. Yes, no, very true. And guess that's just something that I've had it over me a few days. I think I gotta again go into the fear, because yeah, I've been how would you say afraid. I'm very afraid. Been afraid for a long time, just not getting involved in the world. So that's kind of something that I gotta go into. So I think I should be able to figure it out. But yeah, it's kind of just getting out there now, and I guess that is the way. I'm not sure.
So this fear comes up again and you want to be involved. And it sounds like there's some fear as an obstacle between you and your full involvement.
Exactly. Um, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Uh, Cassell, would you please listen to me?
Oh, I'd love to.
I've been thinking about the 8 billion of us on the planet, and there's there's from what I hear and see, there's a lot of oppression and victimization and exploitation. And I'm wondering what it would take for the exploiters and the victimizers and the oppressors to back off a little bit and try to get along a little better.
So we've been looking at the multitude of people in the world, the 8 billion people, and seeing this cycle of oppression and victimization and oppression, victimization, and
Exploitation.
exploitation. And you've wondered if there was a way to get them to stop doing their things and to actually talk to each other,
Yeah.
stop doing what's harmful.
Yeah. And I guess I should look inside myself to see how much of a victimizer and oppressor and exploiter I am. And that's the best place to start.
So a thought seems to come up about looking inside to see that dynamic within yourself to start with.
And taking part in this empathy circle is a really important part of this introspection and coming to see myself more accurately and to accept myself.
Oh, yeah. So being in the empathy circle gives you some sort of access to seeing yourself and to be more self-accepting. So able then, yeah, to be more present.
Yeah. And also to realize I can be listening to others who might be going through that same kind of process. And this empathy circle is such a powerful, powerful vehicle for human growth and maturity and kindness.
Yeah. So you really see that also listening to others that you're offering this or you're participating in an act of human kindness by doing this.
Cassell, thank you so much. I feel fully heard. Thank you.
Oh, I'm the speaker now. Dog started barking, but you don't hear it because Zoom is really good at cutting out background noises. Let's see, who would like to be my Edwin? Want to be my
Sure.
listener?
Listening.
So yeah, it's only been recently that I sort of stumbled upon empathy circles, and I was really glad because I've been looking, I've been doing a lot of focusing training, which I know that Edwin knows a lot about because I've watched your videos, Kathy, and with Ann Weiser, and also I've been a 50-year meditator, so I feel like I've done the looking in my navel for quite a long time.
So you feel like you've looked at your navel for quite a long time, and you've done focusing, you've done meditation, and you kind of stumbled across the empathy circles, which has been beneficial.
I did start, and I did a whole nother thing, which was something called authentic relating. I looked at all the things that they do, and it's so complicated. There was just a level of complication that because I want to be able to have something I know for a fact, for experiential fact, that I'm not alone at being a little too inwardly focused in many of the groups of which I take part.
So you find that you're too inwardly focused in the groups that you're taking part, and other people are like that too. So you've been exploring different groups, and another group was authentic relating, but you find that practice rather complicated.
And you kind of have to buy into a system. Whereas I found with empathy circles, it's very it's like focusing in that it is very applicable to many, many different situations. You don't have to sort of buy a theory or a system in order for it to be practiced and to be a benefit.
So authentic relating, you find there's more of a system, a theory that you have to buy into, whereas with empathy circles and focusing, there's no real thing you have to buy into.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm really, and I mean, I'm sort of disappointed to realize how I don't listen to people, not only all my friends, but, it's me. So, and I love it that there's an opportunity to practice because it seems like in the world I get so many good teachings about things to do, but I don't know how to do them.
Yeah, so you're finding that you're not as good of a listener as you really would like to be, and I think you're seeing that you don't get a chance to sort of practice these different activities, and sounds like you would like to do more practice.
Yeah, all kinds of things. Be compassionate. Do this, do that. I mean, all these highfalutin things that I've been studying and doing for 50 years. And it's like, need to get more simple and get the basics, and then maybe they'll flourish better.
Yeah, for these different practices, they need to simplify it and get really down to the basics. Maybe they'll do better then.
Not exactly that. I feel like it's sort of like I need to find what's basic for me, and
Mm.
the practices can be as they are. I'm not going to change them.
Oh, okay. So the practices don't need to change. It's really how you sort of work with the practices is what needs changing.
Yeah, thank you. I feel heard. That's really good. That's right.
Okay. Then speak to Aaron, if I may.
Totally. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, so it's like again, yeah, really what the Cassell said about there's a lot of feelings in the empathy circle, and that's what a lot of different feelings come up, and that's my experience as well.
So sounds like there's a lot of different feelings that come up in the empathy circle, and with you, that is your experience as well.
Hmm. And I really enjoy hearing people's experience of the empathy circle. Like, what are people experiencing with it? Because we're really trying to promote the practice, and it's good to have those insights about, how is it impacting people's lives. So I really, really enjoy hearing those stories.
So you really enjoy um, hearing people's stories in the empty circle, and you really enjoy sort of hearing their experience in the empty circle, how it goes, and I don't know if that is correct.
Hmm. Yeah, just what people's experiences are, it's just I just find it so intriguing. It's sort of like a landscape that I'm trying to explore all the nooks and crannies of the empathy circle landscape, and hearing other people's sharing their experience kind of sheds light on different corners of the experience.
So sharing and hearing other people's stories sounds like that sort of helps you get a light on the empathy circle experience because you are seeing all the different ways that it can sort of be.
Yeah, and the feeling is, one feeling is curiosity. I have a lot of curiosity, and there's also like enjoyment to hear people's, who people are, kind of their humanity, and I feel the empathy circle helps me to connect with people's humanity, and I just enjoy the richness of that experience.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, seeing the empathy circle, it helps you connect with their humanity and the whole humanity and seeing people's personality, if I understood that correctly. And
Their
okay,
humanity, yeah.
okay, their humanity.
And yeah, I'm really sort of celebrating like with the Empathy Summit. Yay, this is really good. All these presentations. So I kind of like feel like some joy and kind of bubbly energy, around that.
I know what you mean. Okay, so you are really enjoying the empathy circle and you're enjoying the bubbly energy around the summit, the summit.
Hmm. And I also feel a little heaviness and constriction because, as a producer and kind of co-host on all this, there's a lot of kind of keeping things under control to kind of manage, make sure that everything runs smoothly. So it's kind of these mixtures, different parts of my body, different sort of feelings are there.
Okay. So you have different parts of your body and there are different parts and they are managing your system to keep everything under control.
Yeah, like focusing is good for that too. That process of focusing that Cassell's talking. I love that process. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Just if you want to reflect that, I love the focusing.
Okay. You love the focusing.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel very heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Mel Sears, would you like to be my listener?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, definitely relatable. Keeping all the different pots and having them manage your system, keep you under control, absolutely.
So you can relate to what Edwin said about keeping all the balls in the air.
Exactly. That probably explains the tightness in my chest, my stomach, my chest.
So right now you're feeling tightness in your chest and your stomach.
Wouldn't it be nice to just feel comfortable, like not having feelings there that you don't want?
So you'd really like to be feeling comfortable and instead of having this tightness constricting you.
Yeah, no, the tightness constricting me, yeah, no, it doesn't feel good. Like, I can feel like when I'm sort of in my energy, it's not there, but usually in social situations, that goes away. Like, it's there a little bit, it is there a little bit, but not as much. Like, when I usually did it and I just went somewhere, like, yeah, I could be in it, but, yeah, I'm trying to learn how to do that.
So it sounds like that tightness in your chest and in your stomach is part it has been happening with you for a while, and you're kind of observing it and noticing when it gets lighter and when it's there the most.
No, true, true. Uh, Anyone got any tips?
You're looking for some maybe advice or some tools to use that you can help with the tightness.
Yeah, no, true. Yeah, no, very true, very true.
Hmm.
Of course, we have a format, so I can't just ask that question, right?
So you'd like to stay with the format, but part of you would really like to just check in with the participants and see if anybody had any information that might be useful to you.
It would, it would, it would, it would, it would, it would. I don't want to break any rules, it's, not my circle. So, yeah, I guess, would that be okay, Edwin? How would you feel about that? Yeah, would that be okay? If not, feel free to say. It's totally fine.
Yeah, we stay with the process. When everybody has their turn, they can answer.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Uh, and like sometimes, like you can just go to a social event or like be in social settings and just like feel good. And for me, those are the best times. Like when I don't have to worry about saying anything or performing or whatever the fuck, excuse me, then yeah, I can just sort of just, oh, it's so nice. It's so nice.
So you really enjoy the times when you can just go to a social situation and feel comfortable in your own skin.
That is correct. Thank you. I feel fully seen and heard. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you, Aaron. Bob, do you want to be my listener?
I'm listening.
Okay, so I want to respond to Aaron's question. And I think what you did is probably the best way to address that tightness is just to be heard about it. So I'm glad that you brought it up in the empathy circle and recommend that you get more empathy about that tightness, really get into it. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Um, so I want to bring up something
But
that
maybe Bob could reflect that, though.
sorry.
So you're very happy to respond to Aaron's request for feedback. And it sounds like you're recommending the empathy circle as part of that prescription.
Yeah, not only the empathy circle, but just getting deep levels of empathy through empathy circles or NVC. Sometimes empathy circles are limited, like Cassell says. I don't know if there's just not enough time or something, but there are other processes that can also probably meet that need.
So empathy circles and NDC are other good ways to work through this issue.
Yeah, in my opinion. And I love empathy, so it's helped me a lot.
You love empathy, it's helped you a lot.
Yeah. So the thing I wanted to just be heard about is and I already feel some emotion coming up. So lately at night when I'm sleeping, I get this deep ache in my body. It's like all my joints, like all over. And I don't believe that physical pain is only about physical pain. I think there's a psychological foundation and emotional foundation for pain. And I just wonder, about this deep pain. I mean, it's deeper than, I have normal aches and pains during the day, but it's this deep pain. And I'm just wondering if it's about just taking on the world's pain somehow that growing up, I've just taken on the world's pain.
So I hear your voice breaking a little bit, and you talk about being at night feeling this deep pain that perhaps you've absorbed some of the world's pain and you're carrying it right now.
Yeah, I've always been an empath to a certain extent. And so I think I've taken it on just because of the way our culture treats people. It's just not nice. It's just the way people have spoken to me and treated me growing up is probably pretty normal. But for me, I think I just took it in.
So you're weeping and your voice is breaking and you're sad that you've taken in so much of this pain that the world has to offer.
Yeah, and it's still, I mean, it's just still out there if people don't consciously try to change the way that they've been socialized.
So you're commenting that people don't seem to be wanting to change from the way they've been socialized, and you feel that the personal change is part of the solution.
Yeah, I definitely believe that personal change change starts with the self. And I think people don't realize that it's available. But I believe that if we continue to perpetuate these old methods of communicating, that it just continues to perpetuate the pain on the planet.
So your voice was so strong and positive when you said you understand the power of this personal change to make the world a better place. And then you reflected again on how unhappy the world's processes are. And there's a great contrast between those two.
Yeah. So I think my time is up. So I'm heard to the extent that I was given the opportunity to express. So thank you, Bob.
You're welcome. Aaron, would you please listen to me?
Totally. No, absolutely.
A brief comment on your situation with your tightness in your chest and your tummy. I hope you might look up Rupert Spira, Spira, and see if his words of wisdom can help you.
Thank you for commenting. You hope I look up Rupert Spira, and if it does you any justice, I'm a big fan of Rupert Spira, so.
Okay. And I was deeply, deeply touched by Melcir's speaking, and I felt her pain, and I felt her confidence that there's a solution to it, and I'm deeply privileged to be part of this circle today.
You are deeply touched by Mel's that when she spoke, and you are very privileged to be part of the empathy circle today.
Yes. And so I hope each of us continues the practices that we find helpful. I know I've been trying to figure this stuff out for 40 years, and it's working, and I know there's more to do, and I'm grateful to this group for encouraging me and giving me the impetus to keep going at it.
You are grateful for the empathy circle today, and it has been deeply helpful for you for 40 years, and you want to keep going at it. I don't know about that last one.
So I've got my list of practices that I do here at home, and I feel good about the results I'm getting, and I want to keep at it.
Okay. So you've got a set of practices that you're doing at home, and you want to keep at it and practice.
Aaron, thank you very much. I feel fully heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Edwin, will you be my listener?
Mm-hmm. Yep, listening.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't do a good job with Bob's listening.
You're feeling you didn't do a good job with Bob's listening, so you're maybe feeling some concern about that.
Concern is a good word.
Concern fits what you're feeling.
You know, sometimes I feel like I'm really focused on myself, and when I do that, it makes me less empathetic, and it's hard to be there for other people when I'm so focused on myself.
Yeah, you're thinking that when you're focused on yourself, it's hard to kind of be there for other people.
And part of me wants more time for Mouses, because it was cut short.
Yeah, and you were feeling you'd like more time for Mel because her time was short to really express maybe all she wanted to express.
Good, exactly. I think that is all I have to say.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
You feel heard for now, so okay. I'll speak with Cassell. Cassell, please. Yeah, so yeah, you're muted. I just, in terms of the questions Aaron had, about feeling tightness and so forth, I think what Mel said is what I would say too, is having someone to share those feelings with. Well, first is willing to acknowledge the feelings like he did, and then to share them is the first step. So he did exactly what I would suggest.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah, you're there.
They're agreeing with you, but so you would it related to what Aaron was saying about tightness, that you felt that his acknowledging it and speaking it out loud to the group was really the way you would suggest to even work with it.
And it's a bit like focusing too. You kind of maybe if he learned a little bit about the focusing process of staying with that feeling, watching it evolve as he shares and have it someone reflect it, that it would probably help with going deeper into and maybe, moving through it.
Yeah, so the similar to focusing in that naming it in a friendly way, if I can add that little piece in, and then being able to stay with it, but also to name it can maybe create the tiniest little shift.
Yeah, and then having maybe an empathy buddy, an empathy circle is good for it, but just having a one-on-one. Because when I was managing the empathy center, it was very stressful, and I had someone who's my empathy buddy, and for half an hour they would just listen to me. I didn't have to do, and I didn't have to reflect, listen to them. They would just listen to me, and then I would share all the anxieties. And afterwards, I felt much better. I could feel the stress level go down having those empathy buddies.
Mm. So having an empathy buddy when you had the center and you had a lot of anxieties and you just could have a whole half hour where they really listened to you, allowed your stress level to settle out.
Yeah. And my heart was really warmed by Mel, just what she shared. I could just feel my whole body just, warming with her kind of openness and, her humanity. So really kind of touched
Yes.
me. Felt really touched by it.
So what you felt, what Mel said, it really did touch you because your whole body responded with just a kind of melting quality.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel very heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Who didn't hear? Are we going around again?
Yeah, we keep going. We have another about 15 minutes.
I don't know what the timing is. Bob, you didn't hear me, did we? Did you listen to me?
I'm listening right now.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So this is an interesting moment because I do feel I feel something, with Aaron, whose name I don't know if I get it right, and Mel Sears, both so different. I mean, the sense of the tightness and the body and the pain of the world, and just feel that the not denying it, something about being up against the struggle that seems so big right now.
So you acknowledge the struggle that Aaron and Mel talked about, and you feel a little of that struggle yourself.
I actually feel like we're all in it if we ignore it or whatever, but it's happening. I mean, there are people starving and there are people causing them to starve.
But we're all in it. There's people starving and people causing people to starve, and it's all part of who we belong to.
Yeah. But also, so that's sort of on a bigger level. And then what Aaron was talking about, that moment where you just clench up and you especially don't want to at those times.
So there's this feeling of not wanting to clench up, of wanting to be soft and receptive.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to just say what, because I study with this focusing person, and the way she always talks about when there's something that comes up like that, to be able to not be taken over completely by it.
So in your focus work, there's the wisdom that says, don't be completely taken over by it.
Well, she has actually a technique, and it's to just say to the part that feels constricted, to say, oh, something in me is feeling constricted right now.
So the focus technique is the awareness of feeling constricted, which is helpful.
More than that, it's the saying of those words. It's the actually acknowledging because it makes it to say something in me is feeling constricted rather than I am constricted, all of me, to something in me.
So speaking the words, something in me feels constricted, is very powerful.
I think I have found it helpful. You can try it on and say something in me feels constricted and just see if it helps to, I mean, everything's an experiment, right? Something in me feels constricted. Hello, I know you're there. So without adding the please go away part, it's just like accepting it.
So speaking it and accepting it is a very important part of the focus process.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a book called The Radical Acceptance of Everything. So that's how you make friends with everything that comes up in your being.
The book is called The Radical Acceptance of Everything.
Yeah. And it feels like an empathy circle has that quality also, that we're creating a zone of acceptance for whatever's coming up.
And the empathy circle also has that dimension of acceptance, whatever comes up.
Yeah, thank you. I feel heard.
Okay. Mel, would you please listen to me?
Sure.
Again, it's a privilege to be part of this wonderful group of human beings who are being honest and sharing, and I feel the healing flowing through it.
So you're feeling very grateful to be part of this circle where people can share openly and honestly, and you're honored to be part of it.
What else? And no matter what I read about in the news, the empathy circle reminds me that I'm connected in a very powerful way to compassion and loving kindness. And that's so much more important than whenever some blowhard says it gets recorded in the news.
So being in the circle reminds you that you're really, in spite of what's going on in the news, that you're connected to a very powerful compassion.
And I need to be in awe of that power that we all share. And as the old song by Pete Seeger says, "We shall overcome." That gives me hope and a lot of confidence in that.
So you want to remember to be in awe of this power that we all share, and to gain strength from it.
Yeah. I'm working on a song list that I can put together of songs like "We Shall Overcome" and "Blowing in the Wind" and "Times They Are a Changing." And if I hear those songs, it strengthens my resolve to stay with it.
So that the music is really touches you on a deeper level, and helps you stay in this energy of compassion and hope.
Yeah. And one last thing, I used to belong to a church here in town, and our pastor was called to be an assistant to the bishop. And it so happened that after a few years, she was nominated to be the next bishop. But last night she withdrew her name, and I'm kind of concerned about if she's okay. And I hope she made a wise decision for her own well-being and for the well-being of the church.
So there, you're a little puzzled when you heard that this pastor that belonged to this church that you go to or went to, why she would remove her name. So you're a little puzzled about and wish her that she's hopefully that she's doing well.
Yeah. I hope it's for the right reasons and that it's all going to work out.
Yeah, you hope that she withdrew her name for reasons that nurture her and nurture humanity.
Mel, thank you so much. I feel fully heard. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. I don't know. How much time do we have left, Edwin?
10 minutes.
Oh, okay. A lot of time. I guess I just want to put, oh, let's see, who's going to listen? I think everybody's heard me, even Edwin. I'll go with Edwin again. He was number one.
Okay, listening.
Yeah, I just, since I've been doing empathy circles with you, I've noticed that I'm the only person that ever cries in these empathy circles.
Yeah, since you've been in circles with me, you just realize you're the only one that cries in these circles.
Yeah, and it's it's a little puzzling to me, um, why I have so much accessibility to my feelings and to my deeper feelings, and why I'm why I put them out there when no one else puts their feelings out there. Well,
Yeah, you're just kind of wondering, like, how is it that you have that accessibility to those deeper feelings like tears, and also how it is that you can put them out there and others don't.
yeah,
But
yeah, and I would like other people to put it out there because it would feel reassuring to me that I'm not alone.
you actually would like if other people put those feelings out there, because then you'd feel like you're not so alone with those feelings.
Yeah, and lately I've been feeling a little alone in the world. And I think having just shared feelings with people and having people express their vulnerability and share all of who they are would really give me some companionship in this journey called life.
You've been feeling recently a bit alone in this journey of life, and you would like some companionship in those deeper feelings that you have, others that would share those.
I would like that companionship, and and it's been rare. I don't know if people are just so strong in protecting their vulnerability, or maybe they don't have the vulnerability, or they're not willing to share the vulnerability, or um, I don't know. I just am a connection junkie, and I want connection with. I want to go deep. I want to
Mm.
like. I want to. I don't know. I want to swim in the deep water.
Yeah, you really want to swim in the deep water, the deep emotions, and just wondering why other people maybe don't aren't there.
Yeah, and I honor everybody's process, whatever they do. I mean, I'm not judging anyone. Uh, it's just this is just about me and my process.
Yeah, it's not that you're like judging people for not being there. It's just sort of a curiosity, maybe, and why.
Yeah, yeah, and the aloneness that I've been feeling. I mean, uh, I get I get plenty of socialization where I live. I mean, I play badminton every morning and I socialize with people there, and it's fun, but it's not deep. So I
Mm.
don't get a lot of depth of connection with people.
And so you're getting a lot of, people that you're sort of relating with, but there's not that level of depth, emotional depth that you sort of yearn for, desire.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm noticing the time's almost up, so I'll quit there and thank you for your listening.
Okay. Thanks. So we have, yeah, about 5 minutes. Maybe we can just open it up to general comments, any feedback, any thoughts. So without active listening, just any sort of we will be doing a debrief when we get back into the main room. Yeah, Bob.
I've had a number of phases of my life where I have been weeping and sobbing and moaning and crying. And today is not one of those times. I've had several good therapists, and I belong to a small group that meets every Wednesday night, and they have helped me heal the pain. And I'm so grateful to that little group on Wednesday night for healing for me.
Anyone else just jump in?
Well, this isn't a huge thing, but when Bob was making his list, I wanted to add there, but for fortune.
There, but for fortune?
Yeah. It's a Joan Baez song, and it's just so beautiful. There, but for fortune, go you or I. It's about identifying with people who are in pain and just being able to say there, but for fortune. That we'd all be in the same boat given different circumstances.
Yeah.
Sort of a gratitude and a empathy poem.
Yeah, for going deeper, maybe it's a separate empathy circle where, there's a regular group that gets together and they have that space. Because I know when I have my empathy buddy, I'm talking about all the different, I've got more space to talk about all the things that are happening in my life.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate everybody being here and the connection with you all. So.
Aaron, you're muted.
Okay, I want to say sorry if I caused anyone any pain. One thing I would say. Another thing, Mercedes, you mentioned you are looking for companionship. I think Larry is single. I don't know if you know Larry. He's got a website, empathymatters.org. He has empathy circles on there, IFS, and like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I recommend Larry. He might be single, so yeah, he's a really good guy. If you want to put that out there.
That's cute.
Go
and he loves empathy circles. Larry always says, I love empathy circles.
He does, yeah.
I know Larry. Yeah, he lives in Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Miami.
How far away?
I don't know. Miami is in Florida, but yeah, no.
Yeah, Miami's in Florida.
With opening up, wanting deep connections, I totally get that. I was there, and yeah, no, totally get that. One thing I know, when I am able to be vulnerable and just like be vulnerable and understand people emotionally, people open up to me. So it's like for me, what helped was understanding people emotionally and sharing my own vulnerability, yes, because that was able to sort of get them to feel comfortable. So really it's just about building comfort with people, in my experience, and I'm not an expert, so yeah, if I talk like an expert, I'm not. But yeah, like I don't know if this is at all helpful. Hope that is at least a little bit helpful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really need to advice or anything, but I did enjoy your sharing.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, the room, we got 1 minute left here.
Can I'll make an ad. I'm writing a fiction book called, I'm not sure what the name is yet. It's something like Zuma, the secret journal of an Earth alien. It's about an alien who gets left on Earth at birth, and it goes through her enlightenment process until she becomes, in her she finds her home planet again, and they speak nonviolent communication on the home planet. And so it's kind of all these skills put into fiction form so that you can empathize with the characters and kind of learn a little bit as you go along. So that beware of that coming out hopefully pretty soon. It'll have the word Zuma in it, Zuma. That's her name. Thank you for listening.
Welcome back, everyone.
Well, thank you all. We're going to do a bit of a debrief here. And so I'm going to ask you to take 30 seconds to tell us what you feel when you're in an empathy circle. And I'll start with Becky. Would you like to share with us? Becky, I'll come back to you. Nita, would you like to share with us your experience?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. This has been a very wonderful experience for me. It's been insightful. And of course, I'm feeling even more connected with the folks that I've been with and more connected to the idea of the empathy circles.
Well, thank you so much. Alexandra?
I feel inspired, connected, heard, alive and true, like authentic, true to myself. And true to myself also means saying that I might not get hurt sometimes and, try another time. Thanks.
Well, thank you. Emily, would you like to share with us?
I feel grateful and present and connected. And yeah, the thing I've brought up the past couple circles is sometimes a little twinge of sadness that everyone doesn't always feel the connection that empathy circles brings all the time.
Well, thank you for sharing. I hope I pronounced your name. Miss Sears?
Mel is my name. M-E-L.
Mel Sears.
You got it, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I enjoyed our empathy group. The people knew how to do an empathy circle, and they could all do the skills. So I appreciated that, and I appreciated the space and the sense of presence that I received in our group. And just want to thank everyone.
Well, thank you for sharing. Sandra, would you like to share with us?
Yes, I feel, well, of course, with the game and everything, I realize I'm calm here, and also I feel my feet are more on the ground here than they were when a few hours ago when I first joined. I feel like more confident and more of an inner strength. So I feel pretty good after the whole seminar. So thank you for that.
Well, you're very welcome. Tarja?
I feel calm, centered, connected, and empowered. I appreciate being around people of like minds. I was initially writing down, these are people who are really like me when I was listening to the speakers. And I'm so grateful to be around people who are similar, to want what I want empathy, and want to be in touch with themselves. I want to be, same as I, learning language and learning how to connect with others in a very deeply authentic way. I really want that. So I'm grateful to everybody who's here.
Well, thank you very much. Cassell, have I called on you? Okay, Cassell.
Yeah, I can't speak to that, the sentence in general, because it varies so much. But the circle we just had was very was very tender and vulnerable, and I always want to hear more. So that's just me. But I appreciated it and the people in it.
Well, thank you so much. Bob, how was your experience?
So grateful for the Empathy Circle and for Edwin and his work and all of us who are here helping each other heal and be more human and more joyful. Thanks.
Well, thank you. Benjamin, how was your experience in the circle?
Ambivalent, a mix of really enjoying connection, awareness, mindful awareness, self-discovery experience, and also some stress to, like now, to speak in front of the group, or to doing right or wrong, to reflect someone. So I see as opportunities to discover myself, because I became aware of something new about the stress I had. So I found it a wonderful way to bring with spiritual practice, my inner mindfulness, but in the space of relationship. And I'm really enthusiastic for yeah, it's another subject, but that was my experience. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Benjamin. And it was so nice meeting you today in the circle. Thank you. Aaron.
Hi. Yeah, no, when I go to empty circles, when I feel usually afraid, and a little bit excited if they were spontaneous like they were today. That was pretty cool. And yeah, no, the empty circle, it was good. Actually, no, it was really good. I went into a lot of fear, so I'm proud of myself. I'm very happy with myself. Usually, I've been avoiding it for so long, and yeah, I'm very happy with how it went. And everyone was pretty good, and they've done it before. I felt like people knew what they were doing, and I would absolutely go back for what it's worth.
Well, thank you very much for sharing with us. Sheila, are you here? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy that I joined for this discussion today, because I was able to listen to two nice ladies about their experiences, because this is my first time in a empathy circle. And I had few one or two questions that I was not very clear, and I was able to find some answers, so I'm very happy.
Well, thank you for sharing with us. Nita, did I get you, or would you like to share with us?
You got me early on.
Okay. Well, let's go back
Thank
to
you.
Becky. Becky, are you there? Okay. Well, Bill, would you like to share with us?
Sure. I really appreciated being with Sheila and Emily and Alexandra. Becky was in our room, but she didn't emerge from. So yeah, I just was seeing how people were unfolding their story, deepening their understanding of empathy, and also, but in real time, in an experiential way, which I think is very important learning. Thank you.
Thank you. And Kara, how was your experience in your room?
I hang out by myself. What I do know about my experience in empathy circles is that everything twinkles to everything that everybody has said right now. Because every time I come out of, I'm like, oh, I'm so aligned to these people. I feel so heard. I feel connected, like hopeful, and also wholly processing. It's just delicious, isn't it?
Well, thank you. And lastly, Edwin, how was your experience?
Just checking in. Did everybody go? Everybody else went? Is there anybody else that didn't
Except
go?
for me.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it's very rich experience. It always feels hopeful, especially around. I just feel the momentum for building this empathy movement, and also in our circle, there was some tears, and it just kind of warms my heart when people share so vulnerably. It actually it's healing for me too when others share deeply. So very grateful for everyone.
Thank you. And I'm just going to make sure that did everybody get a chance to say goodbye and to reflect upon their experience? Okay. So for me, I just had a wonderful insight today. I just loved the speaker who put the giraffe ears on. And Bill and I host a Thursday empathy circle. And I think I'm going to enrich our empathy circle by getting a clown nose, a big red clown nose. And that's going to be my signification that I want everyone to be playful and have fun in our circle. Thank you. Edwin, over to you. I think. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, thank you. We're in the closing phase here, and just putting into the chat a couple of links here that I'll go over and spotlight for everyone. There we go. Okay, so this is our here are the next steps you can take, and I'm going to go through these. And number one is our next empathy summit is Saturday, January 3rd, and the topic is how do we build the empathy movement? And there's a link to it there. And you can also, step number two is to fill out the feedback form. So really appreciate any feedback about this summit. We like to post that onto our website as well. And you can see the link there. And then to be a Empathy Summit host volunteer, there's a link there. We have Kara, Jonathan, myself, Jana, who couldn't be here today. We're kind of the core group, but we could sure use more people to kind of help with these summits. And if we have more people, we can hold more of these summits. We have next year, we have step number 4 is you can be a speaker at one of our upcoming summits. And we have 4 of them scheduled on how to build the empathy movement. So they'll be in January, April, July, and October. And if we have a bigger team, we could add more summits, about the empathy circle and others. So I hope you'll kind of help and get involved. We have number 5. You can see the Empathy Center website. That's the empathycenter.org. That's our main website. And we have a bunch of other websites that link from their different project websites so you can get more information. And also we have our facilitator training, very popular. And the next one is on online on January 17th, 24th, 31st, and February 7th. That's the next one. We have 4 of those scheduled for next year. You can see the link there, bestempathytraining.com, which I do think, being judgmental, it is the best out there. And you can see the schedule for the Empathy Circles worldwide. We have a lot of people hold empathy circles. And if you're holding one too, you can just add that to our Google Calendar. And then people are familiar, can know where to go for them during all different parts of the day. Priyanka, who is here, holds them in India. Bill holds them on Thursdays, for example, and there's a bunch of others. If you want to save all those links from the chat, you can just go to the chat, and there's 3 dots there next to your name, and you can do save chat. I think that's where you do it. Is that it,
Yeah.
Jonathan, where the save chat is?
Sometimes the 3 dots are on the bottom, sometimes it's on the top.
Yeah. And then it'll save the whole chat so they have all the links so you don't have to write them down or copy them. And again, I'm going to just fill out the last one again is just another reminder to fill out the feedback form. And that's there in the link. Is that in the link? Oh, there it is. Just put in there. That's number 9. Fill out that feedback form. Just click on it right now. and fill it out. So with that, I'm going to move us to the gallery view. I was just on speaker view, and we like to end with our applause hands. So thank you, everyone. Just get a final applause hand. Get that mirroring going, physical mirroring. So goodbye, everyone. See you next time. Looking forward to it. Real pleasure seeing you all. Take care, everyone. And thank you, Kara, for hosting our host. I should have given an applause right off the bat here for that, our wonderful host. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.